Okay, we are officially live. What's going on, everyone? Super excited that you're here. And if you are just tuning in, which you probably are, there's about 160 of you waiting to get in the room. So come on in. Now it's time to get in there, get situated. Everybody should be coming into the same room now as we speak. Want to welcome you. It is Thursday, May 25th, the day that this is going live. It's 8:53 p.m. Eastern time currently right now. And we're excited to be there, to be here, actually. Yeah, here, not there. So I just want to say one thing I want you guys to do right now as you're tuning in. Let us know where you are tuning in from and your first name. Put that in the chat box. The chat box should be right there for you to do so. And then just go ahead and put your first name, where you're tuning in from, and we can go ahead and give you a quick little shout out. I've got my good friend on, Chris Shaffer, also a partner of mine, and we are fired up to have you here. And maybe, Chris, you can talk a little bit about the chat and how that's going to work while everyone starts to pour into this virtual room.
You mean like Ona, Dale, Janet, Javier, Terry, Jason with a Y, Phil, Chris, Amy, Greg, Andy, Molly, and Robin, who all are letting us know where they're tuning in from already. So guys, it looks like all of those people that I just listed off have already found the chat box. If you don't know where it is, it's located along the right-hand side of your screen. I might be pointing to my left for you, but I'm pointing to my right. So that works. It's along the right-hand side of the screen. If you guys are on a mobile device, it's going to be right underneath the video. Our little beautiful faces are going to show up right here, and then the chat is right down there. If you guys have any questions at any point as we work our way through the 5 phases here tonight, go ahead and leave them in that chat, and we're going to answer those one of 3 different ways. The first way that we're going to answer those is if it's a question that I can easily type an answer back to you as we're working our way through our content. I'll go ahead and do just that. The second, we do move pretty fast, in case you didn't already know that. We like to move fast, and as a result, in between each of the 5 phases, we do like to take a small break. 1, so Scott can take a sip of water and kind of catch up, especially tonight. He's got a little frog in his throat. 2, so that we can answer some, this is live, right? 2, so that we can answer some questions that pertain to the section that we're covering right now. So if we have some questions that make sense, that are going to help everybody out, then we're going to do that as well. The third way that we're going to answer those questions, if we don't get to it in one of those first 2 ways, is we're going to save them for the long form Q&A at the end. And basically, guys, we do Q&A until we drop or until we run out of questions, and we've yet to be beat. We always answer as many questions as we possibly can. So if you guys do have any questions, feel free to ask them, and we'll get to them just as soon as we can.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, and I will say that right now, guys, I just got back from Fort Lauderdale. I spent about 4 days there at an event called Seller Summit. I spoke there, and I did a ton of networking and also talking to a lot of TASers, and my voice is just not right. But I'm going to power through. I've got some tea with some honey. I've got a bunch of water, so I'm ready to rock and roll. But I may have to take a couple of breaks here and there, which I will anyway, to answer any questions that you guys have. We got John from Honolulu, Steven, Fort Collins, Colorado, Matt, Austin, Texas, Jen, Jeff, Robin, Molly from Colorado Springs, Andy. We've got Greg from Michigan, Amy from Seattle. Chris says, Chris, what's up? Phil from Monique, I think it is. Jason from Orlando, Terry from Houston. So as you guys are coming in, please do that. Put your first name, where you're tuning in from in the chat, because this way here, not just us, but everyone that's here can say hello to everybody, okay? Because we are here tonight to show you guys exactly how to find a product, but then also how to launch a product successfully on Amazon. And I get fired up about this because I do believe that through all of my years of figuring this online thing out, this is one of the best ways, at least currently, to be able to take all the headaches and the tech away from it to where you can use their platform, and you also are tapping into a huge pool of buyers, and you're able to get in there and see exactly what people are buying, and then from there sell them things that they want, obviously. We're going to talk all about private labeling. We're going to talk about the 5 phases, which is basically product research. From there, we're going to go into sourcing your product. From there, we're going to do a pre-launch. From there, we're going to do a launch. And from there, we're going to do promotion. And those are the 5 phases. We're going to break them down step by step. If you guys have attended a webinar or a workshop in the past, I know Chris has already probably put that poll up. If he hasn't, he will soon. When he does, answer that. I'm curious to see how many people are returning. We usually get a lot of people that come back because the one that they've attended in the past was so valuable. The one thing I want to also say is, as we're getting ready to rock and roll here, is I want you guys to pay attention. I don't want to be one of those teachers that's like, all right, everybody, I want you to stop. I want you to sit up straight. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is pay attention to what we're going to do here for the next 60 to 90 minutes. I do believe that this could be that light bulb that goes off in your head that makes it really make sense. So this way here, you can follow through with this plan, this blueprint. All right. Because once you figure this out, you can replicate it. Okay. You can do it over and over and over again. And I'm going to show you some people that I've helped, but also things that I've done and Chris and I've been working on, and we're still working on. We just launched a brand new brand about 7 weeks ago. So we believe in this business model. And a lot of people say, well, can I start on Amazon and then go to e-commerce later? And the answer is yes. But let me just say, you guys are in the right place if you want to learn how to launch your product in a simple way. Okay, not an easy way, but a simple way where we can break this down in 5 phases. And I like to break everything down and chunk it down. And a lot of people say that they like how I do that because it makes it manageable. And we're going to answer all your questions as well. So guys, as you're coming in, put your first name and where you're tuning in from. That would be awesome. And again, we still got a bunch of you, well over 220 people in the room right now. So I know this is going to fill up. I know we're going to have a bunch more people coming on. We generally do. I know there's always people coming late to class. We won't give any detention slips, but we could. We won't though. So Chris, why don't you just briefly talk about what's going to happen here with the chat tonight, how people can ask questions, how we're going to be responding, and then we can kick this thing off. We got about maybe 2 minutes, and then we got to kick this thing off so we can stay on schedule.
Uh-oh. So guys, in case you missed it, we do call this a workshop. This is not a webinar. This is not, what you typically see online. The reason we call it a workshop is because we leave that chat open the entire time. And the reason that we do that is so that you can ask any questions that you have at any point. And we want to encourage that. And like I said a few minutes ago, we like to answer those one of 3 different ways. The first way is going to be, I'm going to write directly back to you in the chat if it's something that I can answer quickly. The second, we are going to take a couple small breaks so Scott can kind of lubricate that throat a little bit, get a sip of water, get some tea, get some honey on that, and try to get his voice back a little bit. We've been doing a lot of talking for the last week, and we absolutely have enjoyed every minute of it, but it does also give us just a little bit of a break, and it gives us an opportunity to answer some questions. The third way that we're going to answer those is we do like to do a long form Q&A at the end of the workshop here tonight, and we're going to save any questions for that, and I'll let you know in the chat if we are going to save that, save your question for that. That might take a little bit longer to answer, that needs some explanation, or that might benefit from Scott and I kind of discussing it back and forth. Occasionally we'll disagree, and that's always fun to see. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's amusing to me at least. And Scott, I think you get a kick out of that as well. And it's a learning experience for everybody. So if you have any questions at any point, leave them in the chat. I believe if you're on desktop, it should be along the right-hand side of your screen. If you're on your mobile phone, it should be directly beneath our smiling faces. Scott, I'm ready to kick this thing off whenever you are. So if you want to flip on over to the slides, we can do that. Or if you want to give some shout outs, we can do that as well.
Let me just do a couple more shout outs. I want to give a little love here real quick. We've got a bunch of people. Leslie from Guatemala, David from Texas, Michael from Denver, Kanaza, I think it is, Georgia, Lucas from Toronto. Let's see. We've got Johnny from Los Angeles. We've got Raven from Canada, Jorge from Long Island, Chet from North Carolina, Raleigh. We've got, let's see here, Zabby from UK. We've got Catherine from San Francisco, Den, Kirk, MB, Dale, Mark, Jackie, Nick, Jonathan, DMA, Frank. We got Greg from Kentucky, Caleb, Charles from Florida, Brian. We've got a ton of you guys coming in. So I just want to thank you guys for coming. I am fired up. My voice will hold up because I'm going to power through this. And I am so excited to share this stuff. If you guys haven't noticed, I get pretty pumped up. And good thing that I'm going to turn my camera off because I'm usually bouncing around like this when I'm going through these presentation slides and stuff and kind of walking you through this because I get really, really excited about it. So let me jump over to the slide presentation. And Chris, it looks like things didn't fully upload, but I think we're going to be fine. So I am going to go ahead and see how we do here. And let's go ahead and start this and see what happens. So Chris, are we good? Can you see the screen okay? Good?
We're good.
All right, cool. So I am going to turn off my camera. Chris, if you could turn off your camera, that would be cool. And there we go. So awesome. So guys, this is what we're going to do. We are going to dive right in. And I mean, it's taken me a lot to get started here because I just want to dive into the content. But I have to let you guys know that while you're here right now, this is what we're going to focus on, private labeling. Okay. If you guys don't know what that means, it basically means that we can take a product, okay, or a brand, a product that isn't branded, and we can take that and create our own label, Okay, that's really what it means. We can modify it, we can customize it. I'm going to show you some examples here in a little bit. But this workshop is really designed to help you find and launch products that make $100 per day, even if you've never sold online before. That's the big thing I want you guys to understand. Okay, we're not going after $1,000 a day right now. We're going after $100 per day, because if I can get you to $100 per day profit, it's $100 per day, that's $3,000 a month. That right there shows you and proves to you that the model works. And then from there, you can scale it up. All right. So our chat today is going to be me showing you the 5-step process that I've used to select and launch a private label product and generate over $118,000 in less than 6 months on Amazon.com. That's really the validation point that I received that got me fired up. Now, I'm going to also show you how I started with no experience selling on Amazon, no product to sell, no website or blog, no email list, no inside contacts, and no superpowers. Actually, I have a superpower. I think you do as well, and that's the ability to take action. And I think we can all do that. So that is my superpower, and you have the same one as me. Nothing different than me. The 5-step process looks like this, and this is what I broke down into phases, okay, or the steps. Number 1 is product selection. 2 is product sourcing. 3 is the pre-launch phase. 4 is the launch phase, and 5 is the product promotion phase. All right. I broke those down into those phases because that's what we're going to be focusing on. We're going to be chunking this process down. Now, I wanted to show you this really quickly because I get a lot of people that say, Scott, it's so competitive now, it's saturated. And the thing is, it's really not if you pick the right products. And I'm going to show you exactly what we've done and how you can replicate that. But Amy emailed me, and her strategy really is to go out there and find, the low-hanging fruit, the products that aren't that competitive, that can sell 10, 20 units a day. She actually launched a product with no pay-per-click, no giveaways, no reviews, and sold 30 units a day. And then she proved that the model worked, and then she reordered on that product. I'm going to show you exactly how you can do that. This one here I received this morning, and I took it 3 hours after I got to my computer this morning. So 7:28 a.m. Now, here's the deal with this guy. Okay, he said, just crossed our $100,000 in sales. I read your book around a year ago, and it really helped me start our Amazon fast growth. Okay, best regards. That's 11 months. Okay, now a little disclaimer. I'm not saying that this is going to happen for you. I'm just sharing what I received this morning in my inbox. Okay, now this happens a lot. Okay, but you have to go through this process. And what he's referring to is a book that I actually published that goes through the 5 phases that I'm going to break down for you here tonight. So my goal for you is to give you a roadmap and framework to successfully launch your own product. Now, I want to help you reach your goals in life, not just in business. Because when I get emails like this or Facebook posts like this from Ian, and maybe you one day, it gives me goosebumps. It's life-changing. And this is what Ian wrote. He's one of our students. He says, today my alarm went off at 5 a.m. to go to work. I was already up working at my new job, private labeling. I promptly deleted that alarm from my phone because last week was the last days at the job that I've been going to for 16 years. I quit because I could and I was tired of it. Working with my wife, we have replaced that income and then some. Keep going, everyone. It's a great feeling. He pushed through, though. He grinded it out. And man, oh man, I'll tell you what, this does not get old to me when I get to have people like this email me and tell me how much it's changed their life. If you stay to the end, I'm going to give you guys some downloads. We're going to actually cover these 5 phases, but I'm going to give you these downloads and these checklists. So this way here, you can walk through exactly what we're going to be covering here. We're also going to give you the step-by-step launch FBA launch plan. We're going to give you the FBA email follow-up sequence, and we're going to give you the sourcing tips and email templates. All right. Now, this is something we haven't done up until today. Okay. And it is where I'm going to give 2 live attendees, no purchase necessary, just attend and stay to the end. 2 winners, $50 each. I'm going to give you guys $50. All you have to do is answer a very simple question. So I need you to pay attention. And then from there, I'll announce the winner. The first one to answer it in the chat wins. Okay. But I need you to pay attention. Power down your phones, power down email notifications, any of that stuff that's going to distract you. I want you to pretend that you paid to attend this because I believe it's that valuable. All right. If you paid $100 to attend this workshop, you'd be paying attention. You wouldn't be getting distracted. Please pretend that you did, because this way here you can pay attention. All right. I want to welcome now officially my good friend, Chris Shaffer, who I met through this business. And he's a good friend of mine. He's an Amazon seller. He's a business consultant and just a really sharp guy. So he's going to be on this workshop. He's going to be able to help in the chat and all that stuff. So if you guys have questions, he's going to be one to answer them at the end with me or during. So definitely ask questions, and he'll be there to help you guys. Him and I, we've been at all different kinds of meetups and just helping people with their businesses. We've had mastermind sessions where we get to dive in to people's businesses and see where they're sticking and where they can improve things. This was just recently taken, actually this past weekend. I was able to present in front of, I think this room had probably about 75 people in total. But we were in, it's a small group, but we were really digging into this whole how to launch a product on Amazon. Now, I got to say, guys, I love talking about this stuff. If you guys haven't noticed, I get fired up because I know what it can do. And I'm so glad that you're here. But I have a little story here, a little confession. I'm just a regular guy that decided to try this Amazon business. This isn't the only thing that I've tried. But you can see here by this picture, I was like 21 years old. I came from blue collar upbringing. I did construction for some time. But I just want to let you guys know, you don't have to be techie. I actually told my father that I would never own a computer, and here I am. So never say never. What makes this workshop different? Well, I've done this myself. This was my first product I ever launched, and I went through that entire process. This is 6 months, $120,000 in sales, not profit. It was revenue, but this proved to me that the model worked. All right, and that got me excited. This was my 12-month report for my first year, 306,000, 17,000 units sold. Again, proving to me that this model is something that I should probably focus on. This was a test brand that we did last year. We still have this brand, but this was for a full year. We did $103,000 with products that were priced under $20 because people said you couldn't do it. So we launched products. We sold $103,000 worth of sales. We profited $34,131.59. That's 33% margin. Not too bad for a little test project, right? Our newest brand that we're working on right now as we speak, this was from, April 24th to May 24th, over $10,000 in revenue that we've done so far with this brand. Again, because we're constantly in there testing and tweaking and experimenting. I've helped other people. This is just a handful, but I've helped other people just get started, make their first $100 all the way to $10,000 and beyond. This is a bunch of different screenshots that I've grabbed from people that have sent them to me via email. And again, I'm able to dig into other people's businesses now because of where I am in this process. And it's allowing me now to reach out further and help you guys with what I learned. My story really quickly and my why, I think everyone needs to understand their why. And I'm not going to bore you with my long story. But my story is this. I'm a father of 3. I'm a husband of 23 years to my beautiful wife, Lisa. We have built lifestyle businesses that support our lifestyle. That's it. Bottom line. I'm able to be there with my 3 beautiful children. Actually, my 4 beautiful children. My dog here, his name is Brody. And, he's there for everything. He's even been my sidekick with my podcast. But I'm able to go to all the basketball games, the soccer games, the plays, volleyball, roll sugar cookies in the afternoon because I've built lifestyle businesses. And I think if you understand why you're doing it, it's going to help you. And you'll have the right mindset that when things get tough, you push through. I had to share this because this is me and Brody in the morning answering emails or responding to orders. And I'm telling you, this dog, if he can speak or if he could type, he could probably launch his own product. He's heard so much about this business. Brody, that is my other son. So the beginning looked like this for me, guys. I was a blue-collar worker right out of high school, never went to college. I was a construction worker, worked for my father's business. It was a family business. We built that to a $2 million plus business, locally, brick and mortar. And we're going back about 20 years ago now. Learned a ton about business. That was actually me up on the roof just to show you that I was out there working my butt off as a young guy, right? Like, I think I was like 22 or 23 in that shot. But I was working hard. Okay. And I've done the traditional business stuff, right? I helped build a brick and mortar business, my father's business, construction. I owned a portrait studio with my wife. We opened one part-time and then grew that into a full-time business, 6-figure business. We also launched a video transfer business on top of the portrait studio. So we were able to then piggyback off of the photography studio. But the problem was we were still trading time for money, right? We were saying like, okay, if you want that done, it's going to be time with me and then I'll get paid. And that got old very, very quickly, right? We wanted to be able to then figure out a way that we could do stuff and get paid, after we've kind of put in the work. And that's when I discovered selling online. So I started to dabble in selling my own products online, my own digital products, that is, teaching Photoshop and having templates for Photoshop and stuff like that, because that's what I knew. And then I grew that into a pretty successful business, a 6-figure business, again, in the digital products world. I've done affiliate marketing. I've built websites. done that whole thing. I've sold on eBay over $100,000 in sale just by dabbling in eBay. But again, it's still a lot of work. And then I had my aha moment. And that's when Amazon came along. I looked at the Amazon model. It looked very close to a digital products business because I could send in inventory to FBA fulfilled by Amazon, private label my own products. And then when I run out of inventory, they replenish it. They take care of the refunds. They fulfill orders, all that stuff. So that was really my aha moment. After I'd figured out selling online was a cool thing, this was really just a nice extension. My mission, and I'm sorry for this slide being screwed up. I guess it's the platform that we're using. It kind of squished things. But my mission really is to help as many people as I can start their own online business. Bottom line is I love to help and teach people. And that's why I started my podcast, honestly. If you guys have not heard of my podcast, it's called the Amazing Seller Podcast. We've published over 360 episodes to date. I think today 363 went live. Over 7 million downloads to date. And it's allowed me to help people, to learn with people, and then also really just dig into other people's businesses. And also to be able to help people just gives me just a great feeling. And you can see here, I mean, tons of great ratings and reviews on iTunes. Being able to be ranked up there with some of the people that I look up to, like Pat Flynn or Johnny Dumas of Entrepreneur on Fire, just again, helping me reach more people and then helping others get results. That's ultimately what I enjoy doing. And that's why I started my podcast. And that's why I'm here actually today to share that with you of what I've learned through this process. So who's this not for, this business model? Well, anyone who's looking for quick money and doesn't want to put in the work, definitely not for you. Someone who's in search of the next shiny object or silver bullet, I'm here to tell you tonight that there isn't one, and you might want to leave right now because I'm not going to be able to show you a silver bullet. Sorry. And you're not going to see any red flashy sports cars that I'm going to try to impress you with. Okay? That's not going to happen. Now, little disclaimer. Results are not typical. I have to say this because I can't say what anyone is going to do other than myself. I can show you what other people have done after they've listened to me, but I can't say that's going to happen for you. But I'm going to walk you through specific steps and systems that are earning me money right now. I'm going to give you my results, but they are certainly not typical. And the average person who attends any trading usually gets zero results. And it's sad to say, but because people don't take action. I'm going to show you, and I'm happy to show you exactly what's working for me right now for free here on this workshop. But this is not a get-rich-quick thing. It's totally not. So if you think it is, it's not. All right? It's actually going to require some work. All right? So who is this business for? Anyone who's looking to supplement their current income or go full-time and work 100% from home, totally for you. If you want to make your own hours and spend more time with your family like I did, great business model for you. Now, I've made mistakes and learned how to avoid most of them. And I probably should put a little asterisk in there and says most of them because I'm still making mistakes every day and I learn from them. But you're going to be able to kind of cheat in a sense and get the easy way because I'm going to show you exactly what I've done and what I continue to do at this point in this Amazon journey of mine. I believe that it's a great way to jump into the e-commerce world, and Amazon is just a channel that allows us to do it a lot easier, okay? Plus, I love this picture because it reminds me of my kids when we were staying at a motel and they wanted to jump in the pool first thing. I mean, who doesn't get excited when they see that, right? Gets me excited. You guys probably want to jump in a pool now, right? So quick question. I want you guys to play along, all right? I want you guys to interact here. And like I said, this is live. If you are here at 9 o'clock, it's 9:15 now. If you guys are here live, I want you to interact here. I've got a question for you, and I want you to answer this, okay? Imagine having your first product picked and selling $100 per day on Amazon.com. Right now, we snapped our fingers, and it happened. All the work was done. You went through the whole process, 5 phases. Boom, you're done. $100 per day on Amazon.com. What would an extra $100 per day or $3,000 per month do for you right now? Let us know in the chat. I want you to put it in the chat right now. Let us know what that would do for you and your family. Please do that now. I think it's important that when you get clear with what it'll do, then that you start to figure out the why, and then from there it pushes you on to move forward, and you understand what you're actually doing it for. I want you to take it one step further. Imagine having your second and third product picked and selling $100 per day on Amazon.com because now you figured it out, right? You figured out the formula, right? And how to do it. What would that do? What would an extra $300 per day or $9,000 per month do for you right now in your current situation? Put it in the chat. Get real with yourself right now. Figure out that why. If you walk away with one thing from this tonight, is understanding what your why is. It's so powerful. Mindset is a huge part of being successful. Huge part. And I didn't always have it, trust me. But I want to convey that to you now. I want to give you that power. All right? So there's something that we call the 10 by 10 by 1 strategy, and it's built all off of this, all off of the $100 per day. All right. It's a 10 by 10 by 1, and that's what I'm going to be breaking down here for you. So I'm about ready to dive in. I'm going to obviously take a little bit of water here because my throat's starting to get a little scratchy, but I'm good. And I just love this picture. So Chris, are we ready to rock and roll?
Oh, we are ready to rock and roll, brother. And I'm kind of jealous of that dog right now. I'm not going to lie. It's a little warm in the room that I'm in right now, and I would love to just jump into that pool. Scott, I've told you this before, but I love when you ask that question, what would an extra $100 a day do for you? And I love seeing some of the answers that come in. We get a lot of people that say, it would be a path for freedom. It would help me retire. I saw one, I think it was Andrew said more babies, or Aaron said more babies.
Nice.
You get to do whatever you want to do with it. And that's kind of the beautiful part of it. And you brought it up, and I think it's extremely powerful, is knowing what your why is, right? And can that $100 or that $300 or $500 help you to achieve that why? And you talk about that a lot, and your family is your why, right? Spending that quality time with them is why you do everything that you do. And so if you guys can figure that out, you can figure out if this business model is right for you, or if you want to look at something else. And that's exactly what tonight is all about. It's about discovering exactly how we do this process and then seeing if it makes sense for you. So if you guys are ready, I think I'm ready. Scott, I know you're ready. Let's go ahead and dive in.
All right, cool. So guys, I want you to stay to the end. We are going to do live Q&A. We'll do a full round of live Q&A. We are here to help you. We will do some Q&A during each phase. We're going to give you checklists and templates to download. We're going to give you details on how you can win a 30-minute coaching call with me, an Amazon $50 gift card, and also win a free license to Jungle Scout, which is a research tool. I'm also going to be talking about some additional training if you're interested. We have a private label classroom, which I'll give you a little sneak peek and see what that exactly is, and if it can help you, and if it can, awesome. But I'm going to show you a little bit behind the scenes there. So let's just dive in. For anyone that's brand spanking new, you might not even understand what FBA is. Well, I'm going to get you guys caught up in record time. This is going to be like a really fast, get caught up to date session here. So what is Amazon FBA? Fulfilled by Amazon, just what it says. You ship product to them. Amazon picks and packs products. They ship to your customer. They handle customer service. And this is why FBA is the bomb. I mean, let's face it. You don't need to store the inventory. They handle everything, the shipping. They handle refunds. They hire their employees. You only use them when you sell something. It's a really great business model. The basic FBA flow looks like this. You ship products to Amazon, customer buys product, Amazon packs and ships, and you get paid. It's that simple of a process. That's how it works. Now, there's 3 types of products that you can source. There's wholesale, there's retail arbitrage, and there's private label. Now, nothing is wrong with wholesaling. Nothing's wrong with retail arb or even online arbitrage. And if you don't know what that means, I'll explain that in a second. But the reason why I like private labeling more is because there's a couple problems with 1 and 2 there, is wholesale and retail arbitrage. You're usually selling brand names. You don't own the product. Anyone can sell the same UPC. You're sharing the buy box. You're competing on price, and you're limited on inventory. And a good example of this is retail arbitrage. Retail arbitrage is basically this. If you went into a sporting goods store and they had a clearance on a top name fishing pole and they were 70% off and you bought 10 of those poles, you can go sell those fishing rods on Amazon for full price and make the difference, sometimes even more. All right. But once you run out of those fishing poles, guess what? You're out of inventory. You got to go find 10 of something else. All right. With private labeling, you own the product. You're the manufacturer in a sense. You can customize the product, which makes it nice because you can listen to what people are saying they wish it had in it, and then you can make it. Customizing the packaging, making it really nice. Own the buy box. You don't have to share your listing with anybody. And then you control the inventory, which I think is one of the most powerful things of this whole thing. And this is where it becomes really close to a digital product. Because once you find a product that'll start selling consistently, 10 sales a day, all you need to do now is reorder. Amazon does all the other work for you. All right. So it's the closest thing to a digital product that I've found. Now, there are some reasons why people fail, and hopefully after you spend some time with us here tonight, we're gonna help you not, make these mistakes and fall into this, how to fail. You don't want to fail, right? So we're gonna actually prevent that from happening by exposing you to what you need to know. So number 1, and this is just 9 reasons that I've come up with from listening to my audience and listening to other people that I've helped. But number 1 is choosing the wrong product. 2 is struggling to find the right supplier. 3 is not launching and listing properly, poor listing optimization, struggling to rank for keywords, running poor promotions and wasting money, not using Amazon sponsored ads at all or turning them off too soon, failure to test and tweak, and over-complicating the process, which I think is one of the bigger ones. Overcomplicate. That's why I break it down, guys. If we break it down into chunks, we can just go through those chunks 1 bite at a time. Now, people give up. And people ask me all the time, like, so what makes someone successful? They don't give up. That's what it is, right? They just keep pushing through, pressing on, as we say. So 97% of the people who quit too soon are employed by the 3% that never gave up. I love that quote because it's true. We have choices. We have two choices. A, we can work for someone, or B, we can work for ourselves. It's that simple. Most people are not cut out for it, right? They just want to go in and punch the clock, okay? But if you want lifestyle, if you want freedom, you have to build your own business. And to me, this is a great vehicle to allow us to do that. So the 5-step process, again, guys, that we're going to be covering is right here. Product selection, product sourcing, pre-launch phase, the launch phase, and the product promotion phase. So I'm ready to get started. Chris, are we cool? Is everything working okay on your end? And is everybody fired up? I hope everybody's fired up, or I'm just going to turn around and go to bed.
Yeah, everybody is fired up on my end, Scott. We got a couple hundred people hanging out in the room with us. A few people are saying that their audio is dropping in and out. So if you guys have any issues with audio and video, go ahead and try that refresh button. It should be in the upper left-hand corner of your browser if you're using Chrome or Firefox. Different places have it different places, but you can always start with that. And if you still have an issue, let me know inside the chat and we'll try and get you squared away. Todd says I'm fired up. Caleb says I'm fired up. Steve Day says woo. So let's go ahead and
nice. And you can hear my audio still okay, Chris?
You're crystal clear for me. Helps if I start talking after I unmute myself, though.
Cool. All right, let's rock and roll. So product selection phase, guys. This is where we are going to be brainstorming. And this is just a brainstorming session. This is all we're doing. We don't have to find the magic product right now or the winning product. What I want you to do is go through these exercises, okay? So number one, your daily touch list. What that is you taking a notebook, pen, putting it by your nightstand. When you get up in the morning, you start writing every single thing you touch on a daily basis. That will lead to a product or a market that could potentially be private labeled. Browsing on eBay. eBay is older than Amazon. They have a lot of data and they're a search engine for buyers. So we want to go there and explore. Browse Amazon. I'm going to show you a little bit inside of Amazon, of course, because that's where we're going to end up selling it first. And I'm going to show you some ways that we can kind of spy a little bit and let Amazon tell us what we should be selling. QVC, HSN TV, again, it's a shopping network of people sitting on their couches being sold to on a regular basis. All right, so pay attention to that station. Go to their websites as well. Late night infomercials. Again, you can find product there. Not even the product, we can find accessories for that product or even just get you interested in a market. Listening to conversations, again, this is another big one that a lot of people don't take advantage of. And I think after you get done with this, you're going to be so much more aware. You're going to be like, holy crap, like listen to that. Like, wow, I didn't realize that. But listen to people's conversations in the supermarket, at the bank, at a party, while you're on the plane, whatever. Listen to what people are saying that they're excited about. Listen to what they're saying they're having problems with. Right? Listen to conversations. I'm telling you, they're gold. They're gold. Magazine ads. Magazines are built for markets. And I say markets all the time because we're serving products to a market. If you're going after a fishing pole, you're serving to the fishing market. Yes, there's different niches inside of niches, right? Or niches, depending on where we're tuning in from tonight. But think about this. If you are into woodworking, they're going to see the magazine that's about woodworking. And then you're going to see all of the different ads in there that are positioned towards the woodworker. Right? So we can learn so much by just looking through these magazines. Department stores, again, they are a great resource because aisles are broken down into categories and into markets. So pay attention inside of these different areas, all right? Now, the other thing I want you to do is write some more lists. You guys are going to be compiling lists upon lists and just brainstorming and having fun with it. Your passions, your hobbies, your problems, write those down. Then the other thing you can do is rewind. Go back to when you were a kid. When you were 10, 12, 13 years old, what were your passions, hobbies, or problems? Or maybe you have kids right now. I have kids right now that range from, 9 to 19 to 21, and all of them are in something different. I have my 9-year-old who's into volleyball and into doll stuff. And then I have my son who's 19, who's in college, and he's into basketball, right? And then I've got my daughter who's 21 who's getting married. So she's into marriage stuff, like wedding planning, right? So there's all this stuff that I can pull from, and you can too. All right, so eBay really quickly, and I'm not gonna spend too much time here. Go here, have fun, explore, make this fun. Like just see how many ideas you can come up with, how many product ideas, how many markets you can kind of discover and dig through. You can look in at like categories or specific or see all categories or trending collections. I mean, everything here is, to me, they're showing you the best stuff, right? And they have tons and tons of data to share with you as a customer, but you're actually going to be a seller. All right. So you're just kind of spying a little bit. Now, Amazon, let me kind of dig in here real quick because, again, Amazon gives us so many clues. They give us so much information, and we don't even realize it. So let me kind of explain here. If you go to the Amazon bestsellers page, you don't have to start here, but most people do. I don't suggest starting here and staying here. I think if you want to start here, that's fine, but just start drilling down into the categories. So I'm going to give you an example here. So if, let's say, for example, there was something on my list in home and kitchen. If something was in home and kitchen, I would choose that category and then click on that link. And then from there, I would drill down deeper into the subcategories. So we have home and kitchen, and now you see we have another set of different items that we can choose from, okay, from that subcategory list, right? But now watch what happens. Let's say I click on bath. I click on bath, and now I've got another list of subcategories inside of bathroom accessories. Well, let's say, for example, my wife, not me, of course, has a cosmetic organizer. So I would take that, click on it, and it's going to take me to the cosmetic organizer or compact organizers. So now what I can do is start to look around that page, okay? Now, in this case, let's say that I searched for compact organizer, and if I did, then I can look up there and I can see related searches, and I can see drawer organizer, eyeshadow organizer, makeup organizer, and every page on Amazon is different. I got to be honest, they're testing things all the time. So if you go there and you search for something, you don't see related searches, it might not be there. They might have something else that says related products or something, but you're going to get more ideas by doing this exercise, okay? Then from there, this is really cool. People don't realize this, but Amazon is a search engine for buyers. Let me say that one more time. Amazon is a search engine for buyers. So search engines use keywords. Keywords are something like this: compact organizer or garlic press. Well, watch what happens. I went in there and I typed in compact organizer. I hit the space bar like I'm going to add another character. And then all of a sudden, it gives me all of these popular searches. Now I can scroll down and go, oh, compact organizer planner, compact organizer binder, compact organizer travel. Those are the top searches for compact organizer. So I started with a compact organizer. Now I might be thinking about niching into the travel, market. And then the compact organizer might just be one of those pieces in there. So you see what I mean? We're drilling down below the surface. Really important. Another idea tip for you is, again, to be aware of what's on that page that they're surrounding you with. They know that they have someone there with a credit card on file that's searching for something. They're going to start to push stuff at you and show you stuff that could be really, really close to what other people bought by searching for that same exact thing. Top rated, most wished for, hot new releases, right? Amazon is brilliant as far as how they market to us. Pay attention to that stuff. Another idea tip is customers who viewed this item also viewed, and then you have all of these other ones. We can literally build a product line by just using this here. Customers who viewed this item also viewed this. Acrylic lipstick organizer, acrylic lip gloss organizer, acrylic eyeshadow organizer, acrylic paint pot cream shadow organizer, and acrylic eye lip liner organizer. Right? So we just built a product line. Do you think that someone that bought a compact organizer might be interested in an acrylic lip gloss organizer too? Of course, right? So let's just keep our eyes and ears open as we're drilling through this stuff. So the next step is looking at the data, because we don't just want to guess and say, oh, acrylic compact organizer, let's sell one. No, we want to know that they're selling. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. We're going to let Amazon tell us if the market has validated that that product will sell. All right. So these are the metrics and criteria that I use when I'm looking for new products, okay? Now, these are not set in stone, okay? Generally, and I say generally because we did a test brand, which we launched products under $19, but generally it's $19 to $45 retail. Now, if you can bundle something, that's fine. Bundle it. If you can bundle something that's $9.95 and you bundle it and it's $19.95, then you get to your $19, right? Because we want enough margin there. The other thing is lightweight, less than 2 pounds. And the reason why I say that is because it's going to cut down on any obstacles you may run into for shipping. Okay. Sea shipping is going to be a whole nother animal. In the beginning, I want to cut that all out of the mix. I just want to get it here and get it listed, even if I pay a little bit more upfront. Your BSR, your best seller rank. This is how we can tell how many units approximately they're selling per day or per month. All right. Now, this can get a little confusing. I'm going to give you some just guidelines, but generally in the more popular categories, like we call them top level categories, like home and kitchen, sports and outdoors. Let's see, maybe beauty. Some of the more popular categories, if you're finding a BSR, which they list these right in the listing, so you'll see exactly where the BSR is, and I'll show you an example here in a minute. But if you find between 6,000 and 10,000, generally, they're going to be selling pretty regularly, probably 10 to 15 a day, depending, even 10,000 in some categories is selling 20 a day. All right. And also depending on time of year. But that's just a good rule of thumb. Also, your review number. I like to find products that are selling well with low reviews. So this way here, I don't have to compete with other sellers with a whole bunch of reviews, right? We only want to maybe get a handful of reviews and still be able to sell, okay? And then your listing quality, that's another thing. That's something else that I'll show you that I pay attention to. If we can find a listing that's really poorly written or bad images and it's still selling, that's a good sign for us. That means we can improve upon it and we can sell our product. The goal here is for me is to launch products that can sell 10 to 20 units per day. That's my goal. All right. And that's where we come up with this 10 by 10 by 1 strategy. Shoot for $10 profit after all expenses per unit. So just imagine you sold a unit, you put a $10 bill in your pocket. That's what we're looking for. That's what we're shooting for. That's our target. Because if we can get 10 sales a day and $10 profit per unit for one product, one SKU, it's $100 per day. Okay. $100 bill a day in your pocket. Okay. Now, once we learn that, guess what? We can replicate that. We can scale that now. We've learned the process. Now we can grow that to 5 products. And then from there, that would be $500 a day. Pretty easy math, right? I told you guys, I'm not that bright, but I'm bright enough to figure out that math. 365 days, that's $182,500 profit. Crazy, over $15,000 per month by just following a 10 by 10 by 1 strategy. And we're only talking about tapping into Amazon, by the way. We're not even talking about our own e-commerce and all that stuff, which we don't have to do right now because Amazon's going to take care of all that work for us. So just to kind of give you a little bit of the breakdown of what they show us here on the front end of a listing, this is what we call a listing. Acrylic compact organizer and beauty care holder. And then that's at the top. That's exactly what we're looking at here. We have the reviews. They show us that. We can even dig into those and see what people are complaining about, and we can make ours better, which is a good tip there for you. Write that one down. You want to look at the price, which you can see. The weight, size, that's all listed there, the product dimensions. And then the top level category, Amazon best sellers rank, which is under the average customer review. And then you can see here, it says 3,984 in beauty. Now, do not base your decision on home and kitchen, bathroom accessories, cosmetic organizers. That's ranked number 15 in that sub category. We don't want to pay attention to that. That doesn't mean anything to me. The 3,984 in beauty, that does mean something to me. And I can almost guarantee you that that's selling more than 10 a day. Okay. So now what I would do, and this is what I did in the very beginning, is I created a nice little easy little spreadsheet, and I just listed all of that data inside of a spreadsheet. And I did this over probably the course of 14 to 21 days. And I would just, every day I'd go in there and I'd look at the BSR, the reviews, the price, and the listing quality. I really just give a score between 1 and 5, 1 being poor, 5 being high. And I might just deduct a point for bad pictures. And I would write 4, and then I would write, pictures can be improved. I would just list the product in the one column, your ASIN, which is basically just an identifier that Amazon gives it, or you can just use the link. And then I just track everything. I'm going to give you guys a download of a nicer spreadsheet than this. This is kind of really basic. I'm going to give you one with color coding and some calculations to it that'll help you through this process. Just stick around to the end, and we're going to give you some downloads, and this will be one of them. But again, guys, the metrics and criteria, this is not set in stone. This is not set in stone. This is just something to use as a rule of thumb. Sometimes you got to trust your gut too as you're going through this process, but it'll get you started. Repeat this for 10 to 20 products. This is going to be the most difficult stage, and it's going to take time. Spend the time and dig deep. Like I said, guys, this is where the work comes, okay? This is where you are going to put in that work. Once you go through all of these phases, you get launched, then it's a matter of kind of coasting a little bit with that product, but then going back to the drawing board. But you're going to also learn through this entire process. Chris, do we have any quick questions while I take a quick sip of water? And we can go ahead and address any questions you have.
We had 2 quick questions. The first was, what kind of BSR are we looking for? And guys, we typically look for products that have between 6 and 10,000. And the second kind of question that we got a couple times around that was, which BSR are we looking at? You always want to look in the main category. You don't want to look at kitchen and dining, cooking equipment, garlic press, number 10, right? You want to look at the one that says kitchen and dining, 5,000 or 6,000. Does that make sense, Scott?
Yeah, totally.
I think that's about it for now. Guys, keep those questions coming. Scott, let's go ahead and move on to phase 2.
Okay, cool. So now that we're moving into phase 2, which is sourcing your product, okay? Now, there's 2, there's 2 different resources that I would, that I tend to use, and I think everyone can use. These are, I want to really just make this clear. These are places where agents and manufacturers hang out. So from here, what I want you to understand is you might not necessarily find your product here. You might find a similar product. And then from there, you can build upon that. You can also build a relationship with the supplier. Really, really important that you understand that. Now, AliExpress is, they're owned by the same company, but AliExpress is exactly what it says. It's an express model. It's more of a wholesale model, to be honest with you. What you can do here is you can go here, search for your product, and then from there, if you like it, you can order it, pay by credit card, and it'll be shipped to you. You can order 1, you can order 5, you can order 100, okay? This is a great way to test and validate. And actually, Amy, that I shared in the beginning, this is exactly what she does until she actually goes and invests in more than 500 units. Just to show you again, like if we search for something here and we said, okay, this looks good. This is an acrylic lipstick holder, $3.98. Well, I can just click buy now, and then I'm going to add my credit card, and it's going to be shipped right to my house. Okay, I can test it, I can tweak it, whatever I want to do, put it in my own custom packaging if I want to, or I can just ship it in. Okay, and you're going to have to do a little bit of packaging because Amazon's not going to accept it just like that. But typically, it's going to come in a retail ready box, and then you would just label it and then send it in. Now, Chris Gaston, he did this exact thing. He called it his $500 challenge using AliExpress. He's like, you know what? I'm going to test this thing and see if I can make this thing work with only spending $500, and that's it. Kind of like I'm going to gamble with $500. So he purchased 50 units. He also allowed some money for some promotions, some pay-per-click inside of Amazon, and he sold 50 units within like a week and a half or 2 weeks. He shared this story with us in Texas at one of our meetups. Then he went on to order 1,000 more after validating that it'll sell. Okay, so this is definitely a way that you can do it without having to put a ton of money out in the beginning. And again, Amy, I wanted to share her again because this is exactly what she does. She tests products first using AliExpress. Once she sees it's going to sell, she'll then order it through Alibaba, make some tweaks, make some changes, maybe even customize the packaging, and then she can go and start selling it as that SKU underneath that same listing. All right. So Alibaba, a little bit different. Alibaba, you're going to be able to spend more time customizing and modifying and negotiating and all of that stuff. That's where you're really going to create the relationship with your agent or your supplier. The one thing I want to really make sure that you do is, depending on where it is, I mean, these screenshots are, maybe a month old, but things are changing all the time. Wherever the filters are, use the filters trade assurance and gold supplier. And what that's going to do is it's going to weed out anybody that doesn't have those badges. Those badges are important. Trade assurance is really saying that they are insured within Alibaba, that if you ever have a problem, they will fight for you and put a claim in against that company up to the certain amount that you have that you purchased. So if they're insured up to $25,000 and you have a $5,000 order, they would put a claim against that. So definitely you want that checked. Gold supplier, again, very similar. If they have any strikes against them, they're not going to have a gold supplier badge, period. So you're going to weed out anybody that doesn't qualify right off the bat. It's going to weed out the ones that don't qualify. At this point, once we find something we want to get more information about, we go to this little contact supplier button, we click on it, and we send them an email. I don't care about the FOB price or the minimum order or supplyability or port or any of that stuff at this point. I just want to get the conversation going and starting to build that relationship, because I've found over the years that you can negotiate just about everything. They may say in here that they don't do PayPal. You can get them to do PayPal. Like you can definitely ask them to actually go outside of what they normally do. I'm going to give you guys a sourcing email template for a very good reason. I wish I had this when I started. I really do, because I spent a lot of nights going back and forth when I could have just sent one email and got 90% of my questions answered. I'm going to give you exactly what I use and what people that I have on my team now use. So it's a sourcing email template. Plus, we're going to give you some different steps and tips that you can use when you're going through this process. That's going to be in your download bag as well. Your little goodie bag, your little download bag. So ordering samples. I get a lot of people that say, Scott, I don't want to pay for samples. I want to order them, but I don't want to pay for them. They should give them to me for free. And I don't agree with that. Okay. They're shipping to you usually in 3 days from China. And if you go to other countries, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to charge you. It doesn't necessarily mean China, right? If you ship from California, they're going to charge you probably $25. So expect to pay $30 to $50. Just get that out of your head. You're going to pay that. Okay. And now if you want to, you can always say to them, well, if I order through your company, will you deduct that from my first order? 95% of the time they're going to do it. Okay. But I don't really care at this point. I just want to get the samples here, and do not skip that part. Order samples. Okay. And just remember, this is a business. Okay. you're gonna be spending a little bit of money to get started. And $30 to $50 for a sample, it's gonna be money well spent. Keep it simple. Simple packaging in the beginning. They're gonna a lot of times have some generic packaging. Use their packaging. Just maybe add your own graphics. A lot of times they'll print your graphics on there. Where do you get graphics done? 99 Designs, Fiverr. Hire a local graphic designer if you know one. Anywhere that you can have someone design graphics, you can get them done. And then they'll take those graphics and print them right on the box. You can also use insert cards. Insert cards are a great way for you to show how to use the product, but also a little bit of detail about your company, or even just a nice printed card with your logo and your company design on it. It's a great way to spruce it up. Insert cards are very inexpensive, like 5 cents, and they'll print them for you on some really nice, shiny, glossy cardstock. Use air shipping, especially in the beginning. This is going to cost you a little bit more, but it's going to save a ton of headaches, and you're going to get it here quicker. All right. And I always have the first shipment either sent to me or I'll have it inspected. And I think that you should as well. Always inspect it before you send it directly into Amazon, because the only person that's going to tell you that something's wrong is your customer if you do that. And then you're going to start getting negative reviews, and then that's not good. So don't skip that. Okay. So sourcing recap here real quick. Number 1, search for products in Alibaba or AliExpress. 2, use filters to find the highest quality suppliers. 3, contact supplier with specific questions. Very important step. 4, respond to suppliers that email you back. 5, order samples to test. 6, place your first order and wait. It's going to be hard, but you have to. But you're not going to be not doing anything, because in step 7 here, you're going to be working on your pre-launch phase, which we're going to get to here in a minute. I wanted to bring this up. Amy has done this. Like I said, Chris Gaston is and a bunch of other people. This is the low-risk way for testing products, using AliExpress. AliExpress, again, you're going to pay a little more. I don't even care if I'm breaking even on that product at the beginning. If I can order 25 units and test it, that's cool, because now I'm not going to be out that much if it doesn't fly, right? So search on AliExpress, place a small order, create an optimized listing, turn on Amazon pay-per-click, and reorder your product. That's as simple as it can be, guys. And the other cool thing is you're going to learn the entire process by doing this. The quicker you get a product to actually source and launch, the quicker you're going to be able to go through the process and learn. And that right there is an education itself. Okay. So Chris, do we have any quick questions on sourcing before we jump to the pre-launch?
We got the one that I know we're always going to get, which is, what if I don't want to source from China? Do I still have to use AliExpress or Alibaba? The answer is, guys, you don't have to use AliExpress or Alibaba. Alibaba is just kind of the go-to place. And here's the dirty little secret. Alibaba is not just Asian suppliers, Chinese suppliers, Indian suppliers. There's actually a whole bunch of US and European companies on there as well. So that would be the place that I would start. If you absolutely want to source in the US, you can also use a resource like ThomasNet, although it is a little bit like literally flipping through the yellow pages. The website looks like they just scanned in the yellow pages. Not exactly a user-friendly site. The second one that we got, Scott, is, doesn't Amazon get upset if you include an insert card in your product? Guys, if the product is your product, you can include an insert card in it. Just think about like the last time you bought a television, right? Like a Sony television. You open that box up, you kind of turn it upside down and get the TV out, hopefully pretty carefully, and 3 or 4 insert cards fall out, right? A warranty card, all these things. Amazon doesn't mind that as long as it comes from the manufacturer. What they don't want you to do is do something like Retail Arb, where you go buy 2 bottles of Clorox bleach and then put an insert card in. You can't do that. But if the product is yours, you absolutely can do that. Albert says, I found a product on Amazon that has 13 sellers. Is this something that I can source? Yes, you could source it. Again, make sure that it meets the 10 by 10 by 1 criteria. And Melina Scott kind of came in a little bit late, and a few other people were asking, can you recap the criteria that we're talking about really quick before we move on to phase 3?
Yeah, I mean, the criteria is pretty simple. A product, for me, again, this is my criteria. Like I want a product that sells between $19 and $45. I want to make sure that it's light, fit in a shoebox, under 2 pounds, because that way there I don't have to sea ship it, and it's not going to be that expensive to air, even though eventually I will probably do sea. From there, I want to make sure that it has a BSR that's between 6,000 and 10,000 in a top level category. Again, that's not like a hard and fast rule, but it's a good gauge. And then also I want to make sure that the reviews are under 200. So this way here, I don't have to compete on reviews. If they still get good sales with low reviews, that's good for me. That means I don't have to compete on reviews. I think that was all the ones. I'm doing this off the cuff here.
I think you're good to go. Let's go ahead and move on to phase 3.
Okay, so the pre-launch phase, this is actually where it gets pretty exciting. There's two parts of the pre-launch phase, okay? And step 1 is really creating your listing. You need to have a listing created for a few different reasons. But number one, you have to get a listing created. So this way here, you have a destination for your inventory to be inserted into, right? We have to create that listing. So even though it might not be perfect and it might not be fully optimized, it needs to be created. But this is the time that you're going to work on this, okay? So high quality images. The thing is if you don't have your actual product in hand, you can't take high quality images, right? I mean, it's probably what you're going to say to me next, but you can still take pictures of the sample and just get that image up there. So at least you have one image. So this way here, it's not empty. Okay. And then we can finish those later. Okay. The second part of this is a strong title using keywords. If you don't know what keywords are, basically what it is garlic press is a keyword. It's something that people search for. It's not necessarily one word. It's keywords. It could be a string of keywords. It could be stainless steel garlic press. Now, the next question I'll get is, well, Scott, how do I find these keywords? Well, you look at the thing that you're looking at, the stainless steel garlic press, and you see what other people have included in their titles. Now, you're not going to use their brand name. You're going to use generic words. Stainless steel garlic press, black handle. That's a keyword. People are going to search for a black handled garlic press maybe, right? So you want to just figure out what those main keywords are and include those in your title. We can always customize this later too. The bullet points. The bullet points are another part of your listing that we want to optimize, okay? And again, these don't have to be perfect right now, but you get up to 5, and in some categories even more, but for the most part, it's 5. You want to talk about the benefits and the features. Where are you going to find these? Well, you guessed it. You're going to go to your competition and see what they're doing, and you're going to just model that. You're not going to copy it. You're going to use the different terminology, the different languaging, and then from there, you can build out your benefits. The other cool thing is go to people's reviews on your competitors and start pulling the languaging and what people are saying they like about it, what they don't like about it, and use those in your bullet points. That is, to me, I mean, that's like a super ninja trick that a lot of people don't take advantage of. Description, that's down below the bullets. This here is really just to fill it out. So this way you can give more detail about the product. You can also talk more about the benefits, and you can also give a little call to action. A little call to action looks like this. If you want to start pressing garlic this holiday season, go ahead and click the buy now button above and start, pressing garlic and creating amazing meals this holiday season. That's it. Like, that's a call to action. Okay. The other thing I want to say is that when you're doing all of this stuff, you're also telling Amazon what you're selling. So when you start to get sales, they're going to rank you based on what you have in your listing as far as the details, right? Like, so if you sell a stainless steel garlic press, then they're going to see that because you have it in writing, and then they're going to be able to match that up to your listing. And when you start to get sales, that's what's going to drive that. And we're going to get into that in the launch phase and show you how important that really is. So one thing to understand is listing optimization is basically everything I just covered there, right? Having all of those things filled out, all of that stuff in great detail. But if you add listing optimization plus sales, that's going to equal keyword ranking. What does that mean? It means that when someone searches for stainless steel garlic press, you're going to show up, and hopefully you're going to show up on page 1. And then someone's going to click on your listing and then buy it. And then that's going to turn into a sale, which is in turn going to get you more ranking juice. Okay. So understand it's listing optimization first, then comes sales, and then the keyword ranking will follow. Okay. Now, what is listing optimization? Well, let's dive into that a little bit more. Okay, so just to give you like a real world example here, images are really, really, really important. I can't stress that enough. Don't chintz on your images. Like, get really high quality images. I get a lot of times people say, where do I get them done? Your local photographer would probably love to take pictures of something still instead of taking pictures of babies or families, things that can move, right? So ask your local photographer. I think that's the place where I would start, okay? Your images are so important because it's the closest thing that people are going to have to touching your product. Give them the best quality that you can. Also, make sure that they're big enough so this way here, Amazon can turn on their rollover image feature, okay? If you've ever hovered over an image, you see how you can zoom in. You want that to be able to be engaged. If it can't, then people can't see it close up, and they don't like that. Amazon wants them to see that. The way to get this to engage is have a picture that's large enough to do that. So my general rule of thumb is 1,500 pixels by 1,500 pixels wide. If that sounds foreign, don't worry about it. Write it down. 1,500 pixels by 1,500 pixels. Tell your graphic designer and your photographer that's what you want them saved at, and you'll be good to go, okay? Acrylic compact, organizer, and beauty care holder is in the title. There's your keywords, okay? In the title, your bullet points, benefits and features, and then your description, product description, elaborate on your benefits and features. And again, the description is really you telling Amazon more about your product more than the customer. Most of the time, the customer ain't even going to get down as far as the description. They're going to look at the images. They're going to, well, first they're going to look at the title because that's what's going to bring them in. Then they're going to see the thumbnail of the image. That's going to bring them in. Then they're going to look at your images up close. Then they're going to look at price, reviews, and make a decision. That's the order that I think that they go through, okay? At least that's what I do. All right, so that's optimization. Now, the second part of the pre-launch looks like this. We need to use this time to build or find our launch list, okay? What is a launch list? It's a list that we're going to let people know that when our product is live, hey, we've got a product. We would love to give you a discount on it if you would just buy our product. Like, we're not saying we want you to leave us a review. I'm not saying that, okay? That's no. We can't do that. But we can get sales. Think about this for a second. If you have a brick and mortar store and you want to get attention, what are you going to do? You're going to have a grand opening sale. I had a guy come up to me at Seller Summit. I was mentioning the same thing. We were going through this exact talk. And he said, you know what? I used to have a brick and mortar store. We used to allow $10,000 for a grand opening. $10,000. Okay. We're talking about just giving a little discount off your product, maybe 25%, maybe 50%, right? And you're still going to be able to get your money back. We're talking $10,000. They're doing that for grand openings. So think about it like that. We have to let Amazon know we're here. We have to start getting sales. That's the only way to get noticed. All right. So you can use deal sites. There's deal sites out there. There's Slick Wallet, Slick Deal, Fat Wallet. There's a few other ones out there. You can build your own interest lists. If you have a following right now, or you know someone that does, reach out to them. Reach out to influencers out there, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, or build your own list. But the bottom line is you got to do it. You got to build a list. Reach out to bloggers. Do outreach. Find out where your market's hanging out. Contact the admins and ask if they would like to offer a discount to their audience. Okay, they're gonna look like a hero. Okay, so that's what you have to do in this process. So, Chris, do we have any quick questions on that before we jump into the launch?
We had a couple people who were asking us what tool we use to find our keywords for the back end. I know you've recently become a fan of Scope from Seller Labs, but guys, remember, you don't really need any tools in the beginning to do this. You don't need tools for product research. They do help. You don't need tools to find keywords. They do help. The easy way to find your back end keywords and start to optimize that listing to get all that ranking juice, as Scott put it, and some people were laughing about that in the chat, is to look at your competitors' listings and see what they are using on their front end to help you write your title, your bullets, and your description. That's a great place to start. The tools are a great supplement to that, but the best thing that you can do is start to look at what's working already and go from there.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different ways, Chris, and I don't want to dive into that part right now because we're in the pre-launch. But let me just say that when we get into phase 5, we're going to be able to see exactly what people are searching for, and we're going to be able to use that in our back end. So, there's a lot of different ways we can do it, but you're going to know the obvious, period. Like, you're going to know the obvious. But what's really cool is once you start to do phase 5, which is the promotion phase, you're going to see real data, search terms that people keyed in and found your product. And we're going to show you exactly how to do that.
Sounds good, my friend. Let's go ahead and move on to phase 4.
Okay, so this is the launch phase strategy. I call this because it's exactly what we're doing, right? We're ready now. We've done the pre-launch. We've got our list ready to go. We've got either we've reached out or we've got our own email list built, whatever. We're ready to go. We've got an optimized listing for the most part. Pretty good. It might not be perfect, but it's pretty good. It's well built out. Now we have to figure out how are we going to get our first set of sales and how are we going to start getting some organic reviews coming in, okay? And it's going to be launching our product at a discount, okay? Now, you can try it without doing this and just turn on pay-per-click, which we'll talk about in phase 5. But if you want to do this because you think that, you know what, I want to just kind of kickstart things, get things moving, then do it. This is going to depend on your competition. We had one product in our open brand, which we didn't do any type of discount or anything. All we did was we launched it, we started running pay-per-click, and we started selling. Okay, that doesn't mean that's going to happen every time, but we tried it without doing anything and it worked. If it didn't work, we would have then did some type of promotion. Okay, so just you got to feel this part out, but it's going to depend on your competition. I would plan to discount 50 to 100 units. Like when you're ordering your units, you got to figure out what you're willing to kind of, give away in a sense or not make money on. So many people want to make money the day that they launch. They say, okay, I want to make my first sale, make my first dollar. It's not really about that. Part of the process is that grand opening sale, right? It's the same thing, okay? So if you have a competitive or semi-competitive, you're going to probably want to do 100 units or maybe even a few more. I like to stagger those out over the course of 5 days. That way there we spike the sales over time, okay? But again, this is not like exactly what you have to do. These are just ideas of what you can do, but you have to look at your competition. But generally, we allow at least 50 to 100 units. Now, we need to get the ball rolling, like I said, and when you get sales, you're going to increase your keyword rank if, big if, you're optimized, okay? And the optimization comes in with looking at your title and your pictures and your bullets and your description and your backend and all that stuff comes into play. That's why it's so important to get that stuff really, really dialed in. Your keyword rank in reviews will increase sales. So if you have more reviews, you generally will convert a little bit higher. It's just the way it works, okay? Doesn't mean you won't convert without any. It just means that you'll convert a little bit higher. So if you can bump up your conversion by 2% and you have 100 people visit your page, that's an extra 2 sales, okay? So right now we just have to rank though. And sales is what's going to make that happen alongside of an optimized listing. Other thing that's really, really important is to email your customers. Now, there's automated software out there that helps you with this, but in the beginning, you do not need that. You can do it by hand if you want to. I did it by hand. When you get an order, after it's been delivered, follow up with them and just say, hey, I just wanted to check in, make sure everything arrived okay. If you have any questions, and oh, by the way, here's a PDF, maybe 10 free recipes to use with your new garlic press. Let us know if you need anything. Take care, Scott. And then maybe 5 days later, you follow up again. Say, hey, just checking back in again. Want to make sure you got that download. Want to make sure everything's working good. Hope your family enjoyed those meals. And oh, by the way, could you do me a quick favor? Could you head over to Amazon and let them know, how you enjoyed your experience with us? We just want to make sure that that Amazon knows how we're doing, and we want to know how we're doing. So if you could do that, that would be great. That's it. And no problem there, right? All you're doing is asking for them to give you a little bit of feedback. That's all you're asking. And there's nothing wrong with that. Amazon is okay with that. So let's move into phase 5, because these two are really gonna really piggyback off of each other. Okay. Because as you're doing your launch, you can start to run pay-per-click. And this is basically, if anybody doesn't know what pay-per-click is, this is what it is. It's exactly what it says. You're paying only when someone clicks on your ad. Okay. They call it sponsored product ads. That's what Amazon's pay-per-click is. And it's brilliant. Because now we can advertise. We can force ourselves to page 1 with a paid ad, okay? And if we start to get sales through that ad, guess what? We're going to start to rank, okay? So understand that on the left-hand side here, you're looking at, that's organic. That's where we want to eventually be. That's free to be there, but you have to earn your way there by sales and optimized listing, right? Your sponsored ads is generally on the top, side, middle, and bottom, somewhere. They move them around all the time, okay? But just understand that they're usually on part of the page. And it blends right in, to be honest with you. So it's just part of the ranking process as far as how this works. So when someone searches using a keyword and buys your product, Amazon's going to start to rank you for that keyword. So if someone searches for stainless steel garlic press, they find your product, they land on it, they buy it, guess what? You're going to get some of that love that Amazon's going to give you for that keyword. Here's the cool thing. When someone clicks on your pay-per-click ad for a keyword that you're running, okay, and they buy your product, guess what happens? Amazon starts to rank you for that keyword. Pretty cool. Now, here's just a little example of the power of pay-per-click. In 1 month, I spent $1,200 in pay-per-click. Results, I had 105 sales from pay-per-click and 1,525 sales from search. But the cool thing is I had 105 sales, so that was cool, but I got more sales organically because of that. Okay, because I drove sales through keywords that help me rank for these other keywords and these random keywords. Okay, so that's just part of the process. Now, I'm going to give you this, and I'm always a little reluctant to do this because I don't want to overwhelm you. Understand, I don't think that I don't expect you to really understand all this right now. Okay, we're going to give you the slides and all that stuff anyway, so you'll have that. But at this point, I wanted to at least give you a little strategy that when you're doing sponsored product ads or pay-per-click, that you can kind of get started and also start mining for those search terms that people are actually searching for. And then you can take that data and further optimize your listing. So number one is finding your top 10 or 20 keywords. And again, you can do that just by looking at the front end of your listings of other people in your market. You can do a Google Planner search. You can do merchant words. You can do scope. You can do all different ones, right? But find your 10 to 20. You can go into the Google or the Amazon search engine and type in your main keyword and then just put a space bar and see what the top keywords are that pop up, right? So find your top 10 to 20 keywords. Create a manual campaign. And I don't expect you to understand how to do that right this second, but understand that all you're going to do is create this very simple, basic campaign. 2, you're going to set a daily ad budget to $25. You can even do $15. It doesn't matter. And your cost per click, $1. Okay. That means that you're willing to spend up to $1 for a click. Okay. Number 3, run for 7 to 14 days and then download your search term report. Amazon gives us this nice document with this gold this golden information. It's called a search term report. We are able to see exactly what people searched for to find our product, the actual keyed in keywords. Listen to what I just said there. They're giving us exactly what people are searching for. So now we can take that information and we can plug it into our listing in the back end, in the front end, wherever we want. Okay. We can also start to really hone in on that in pay-per-click and start to dial that into where we start being profitable with our pay-per-click. But at this point, we're just mining for the keywords. Number 4, look at the data and then optimize the listing further. And like I said here with a little tip, it does help your ranking. 5, spend more money on the winners and cut the losers. And that's going to be a process in itself. But that's a really good, solid, quick start strategy. You're going to be mining for these keywords and you're going to be starting to get sales through these keywords through sponsored product ads. So at this point in the process, after phase 5, you're launched, you've got pay-per-click running, you got a promotion almost done, focus on sales and reviews. Sales and reviews. That's all you're going to be focusing on at this point in time. So let's do a quick little recap here. The 5 steps. 1, product selection. 2, product sourcing. 3, the pre-launch phase. 4, the launch phase. And 5, the product promotion phase. Now you can do this by just using the information that I shared with you inside this workshop here tonight. Everything I just covered is exactly what you would need to do. I want to ask you another question. I want you to answer this in the chat. Okay, so wake up if you fell asleep. Please don't fall asleep. What's better? Answer A or B. Invent a brand new product. You're first to market with a product. Or B, model one that is already selling. I'm going to give you a little bit of time here. Just a little bit of time. Take a little sip of water here real quick. And put that in there. It's so much easier if you model what is working. That's my opinion. Right, guys? We don't have to guess. Amazon gives us the information. They give us the sales numbers. And this is going to be the quicker way to getting to $100 per day or $3,000 a month because we're modeling what's working. We don't have to guess. All we have to do is find a product that's selling well, steady, and then make ours better by looking at the reviews and doing a better job. Okay? Now, let's kind of cover the secret formula. I do this kiddingly, but everyone wants to know the secrets. And I'm going to show you that we just kind of went through those secrets. Secret number 1 is how to research and find products that are already selling on Amazon, right? They're already proven to sell. We've already done that tonight. Secret number 2 is how to find suppliers to private label and modify your products. We did that too. You've got that covered. And then secret number 3 is how to list and launch your product to start getting sales and rank. And we did that here tonight as well. It doesn't have to be complicated. So let me ask you another quick question. Does it feel like I just sprayed you in the face with a garden hose with a bunch of this information? Like you're drinking from a fire hose right now. And I get it. I get it. There's a lot of information there. Not to mention, I love this picture. I love this picture. My son's 19. It looks so much like my son when he was his age. And he was probably doing the same thing and probably running around the yard chasing me with that garden hose. But I totally get it, guys. Like there's a lot of information here. A lot of information. I get a lot of people that are going to ask me after this workshop, hey, Scott, will you coach me? Excuse me. I get a lot of people that ask that question. And I'm flattered, right? One-on-one coaching, group coaching, meetups, masterminds. But in the past, I've turned all these offers down. And the reason why, main reason, is because I wanted to decide what was the best way to structure and teach this process. And my question to myself has always been, what would have helped me when I started? That's the big question I always ask myself. So my question to you now is, would you like my help additionally than what I just gave you here tonight? Like if I could show you, like looking over my shoulder, step by step. Would that help? Would you want that? And some people will say, you know what, Scott, I attended and I got all I need. I'm good. I'm off to the races, and that's awesome. But I've had so many people that say, Scott, I've listened to your podcast. I've went to a workshop and I just want more hand-holding. I want step by step. And for those people, I created something. I created the private label classroom. I decided to create this entire step-by-step coaching class and private community. This is not a course, by the way. It has course material, but it is a class. And the reason why I did this is because it's interactive. It's a private community where you help each other. Okay, you learn from each other. And there's a bunch more that goes into it. And again, this slide is a little screwed up. Hopefully you can read it. But here's what we created. In component number 1 of the class is complete step-by-step videos and worksheets walking you through the 5-step process. 65 videos and growing, and all the 5 phases are covered in great detail. In module 1, and you can see looking inside of all of the material and how it's all organized, everything is structured for you, bite-sized pieces. But in module 1, when you finish module 1, your product will be selected. In module 2, your product will be sourced. And in module 3, your product will be launched or created. I'm sorry. In module 4, your product will be launched. And in module 5, your product will be promoted. Everything is designed to complete, right? To go through the completion of each module and each phase. So just to give you a little sneak peek of what it looks like in one of the lessons, we have a video lesson looking over the shoulder. Then from there, we have downloads that accompany it with swipe files, with downloads, with checklists. We also have MP3s because after we launched initially, we had our class, our student go, hey, can we get some MP3s? We want to listen after we watch. So we said, okay. So now we do MP3s as well. We're always listening. We always want to make it better. The other thing that we've added here is, and a huge component is the private label classroom Facebook community. It's a private community with only people that are in the class. It's accountability. That's what a lot of people said too. Scott, I want accountability. I want to be able to reach out to you or others and say, this is what I'm doing. Or I didn't do that last week. And then someone to say, hey, come on, man, stay with it. You got this. Like, that's huge. But also to see what people are doing on a daily basis is motivating and inspiring. And it also makes you want to achieve the same exact thing. It's really contagious in a sense. This is what we do on Fridays, PLC Show and Tell Friday. You're up. Accountability will help you succeed. And you get to say, hey, what did you take action on this week? And maybe what didn't you take action on a week? People love this because you can actually be heard. And it's a way for you to check in. And also to say, you know what, I better do something. I got to check in on Friday. You get to really pull from the community. You get to have that accountability aspect. You get your questions answered. You get feedback. You also get to celebrate, as Rohit here says, finish module 3 and sent 50 samples to Amazon to test the market, crossing my fingers and doing the hokey pokey in the living room. So we even do the hokey pokey. Not many people are still doing the hokey pokey, but we do. You get access to other successful sellers. Like I said, you get to lean on other people that have already been there and done that. Accountability, I can't say it enough, forces you to take action. You can see here Johnny saying week 1, he checks in, week 2, he checks in, and then he gives a recent update. And the reason why he's doing that is because after each module, you're told to go and check in. And it's a way for you to, again, be accountable, but check in and stay the course. The other component is our Hangouts. We do monthly Hangouts. So this way here, we can check in. We can talk about what's working, what's not working, any updates, and we record all of these. So if you can't make them live, we record them, and then we put them inside of the PLC Hangouts section of the class. And you get access to those. But you get invited to all of them as well. So you get to go on. If you want to go to all of them, you can. Okay? And we're there to do that on an ongoing basis. We also do some surprise Facebook Lives every now and then. Chris and I have been known to do those, to jump in there and help in anything that might seem like people are sticking on or struggling with. We jump in there and do those every now and then as well. And then component number 4 is really 12-month access to new class content with no additional cost during that 12 months. So we're doing updates. Actually, we're going to be closing the class here actually next week. And we won't be reopening for about 6 to 8 weeks. And during that time, we're going to be actually adding new material. Actually, not even just like we're updating. We're actually adding new bonus material. And that's going to be really, really awesome. And you're going to get access to that stuff absolutely free as being a student of the class. So again, just to recap here, when you join the private label classroom, you're going to receive 5 modules, 65 videos and worksheets. That's a $1,397 value. 35 past PLC private Hangouts with notes, timestamp notes, by the way, too. So if you want to just go through and look at the cliff notes and see what spots you might want to tune into, you just go there and you see the timestamp and you go to that spot. $3,000 value. 12-month access to private PLC community. It's $497 value. 12-month access to new content. So you don't have to ever worry about updates. We update you for free, $397 value. And then monthly PLC Hangouts for 12 months. You get invited to every single one that we do every single month. So $1,200 value. So total value is $6,491. But we don't stop there because we're just always adding new stuff. And we do bonus expert interviews. We've been doing these almost since the beginning. And now that I've been able to have the podcast and everything, I've been able to really meet some really awesome people. And one of our first ones was Greg Mercer from Jungle Scout, actually a good friend of mine. Actually, I'm going to be having him back on soon. But what we do is we tell the class, we mentioned that we're going to be having on a guest expert. What would you like to ask them? And then they have all week to submit their questions. And then I hop on, ask that expert the questions. We record it, and then we put it up inside of the class. We did one with Ryan Daniel Moran. We've done a bunch more. We've done one with an ex-Amazon employee, kind of peeling back or pulling back the curtain, so to speak. We did one with a lawyer that specializes in Amazon businesses. We did one with a C-shipping expert, a professional CPA. We also did one with a listing optimization expert, Karen Thaxton. And we've done a bunch more. We did one on split testing, and we've got more planned in the future. But all of that in the private label classroom is packaged all together, okay, inside of there, including those 7 expert interviews, which now we're at about a $7,885 value. Our current public price right now is only $1,497. So that's what the current public price is, all right? Now, you can see why it's a good deal at $1,497, right? If all this course does is help you find one product that makes you $100 per day using the 10 by 10 by 1 criteria, that would be a worthwhile investment, right? I mean, you'd probably agree. If we can get you to $1,497 in sales, basically that's 15 days of sales. That's our goal to get you there, right? That'd be a good deal. Now remember, one important thing, I'm not special. I wasn't able to achieve these results because I'm special or because I was lucky. I was able to get them because I took action and I followed the system. Remember in the beginning, just a contractor that started out high school, no college degree, but I worked my butt off learning business and then figuring out this online thing and then discovering Amazon. So pretty awesome stuff. You can receive this exact same roadmap that I used to launch my first product. That's exactly what we're going to be giving you. We're going to be giving you like your own little personal GPS. You use GPS, right? I'm sure you do it. I mean, I could get lost in my own backyard. My wife will tell you that every day. So I want you guys to imagine we just gave you a GPS with all of the maps to get to where you need to go. So again, guys, everything that's included here is over $7,800. You're going to get access for, actually, we're going to do better than that. But the current public price is $1,497 currently right now. But like I said, we're going to do something pretty special for you guys. So fast action takers bonus. Let's talk about that really quickly. The first 3 that join the private label classroom here tonight while we're here live, this is only for live attendees. I'm going to do 3 people, 10-minute strategy calls. We're going to schedule those. If you get hung up in any one of these stages, any one of the phases, or even after, we're going to get on Skype and we're going to hammer through it. We're going to get you through it. And if we have to go 15 minutes, we go 15 minutes. But I will stay on that line until we get that solved, okay? So the first 3 that join is going to get access to this right here. So what we're going to do for live attendees and anyone that's on this workshop, we're going to discount it by $500. So we're going to take $500 off our regular price of $1,497. So just $997 gets you full access to everything I just covered. And you'll be part of the PLC family. And you'll be able to really, really learn inside of the class exactly how to do it. So the single investment is just $997. You can click the Join Now button. You should see that button up on the page. The other thing that we're doing, and this is brand new, we're just offering it today. We have not ever done this, ever. We're doing this now. It's a new flex option. This is not public. This has never been even offered before today. All right. So what we're doing is a special 12-month investment option. So for $99, you can get access to everything. Okay. Inside, we're not holding anything back. And then you have 11 additional payments. It's going to be a little bit more expensive than the single pay option, which you can expect, but we are doing this just in case you wanted to spread that out over 12 months. Okay, so $99 to get started today and then 11 additional payments, so a total of 12 payments. You can also go to theamazingseller.com/code 525, and that should take you to that same page that the button will bring you to on this page. The other thing that we're going to give you guys, a little bonus, is a live product research webinar that I did with Greg Mercer and Chris Shaffer. We jumped on with, I believe it was just over maybe 75 or 100 people. But the only way that they were getting access to this private hangout was if they went ahead and purchased Greg Mercer's web app. At the time, it was in beta, and we let people have it that was at beta, and then we offered them a private hangout. $297 value. I'm going to give you access to that recording. Okay, so $297 value, you're going to get absolutely free. The other bonuses we have some advanced Amazon pay-per-click training inside of there, and then just a little sneak peek and a little I'll kind of let the cat out of the bag. We've got some pay-per-click training coming that's going to be part of our our bonuses that we're going to be adding when we close. We're going to be adding that stuff very, very soon. So you're going to get full access to that as well. The other bonus content that we have available for you guys, like I said, we're adding stuff all the time. We've got this bonus reports for running your business training. We also have how to get ungated in Amazon's restricted categories. We've got a bunch of other things that's loaded up there in the bonuses section. This one here is huge. And sometimes I don't really want to share this because I don't want you to think you have to do this right now. But we did a private, in-person, live, in a workshop with, I believe it was just about 25 people. And we did a private workshop which cost $1,000 to be in that room, okay? And we shared exactly how to do external funnel building for your products. We also talked about how to build your own launch list from scratch. And you're going to get access to these recordings absolutely free. It's $1,000 value. You're going to get access to these absolutely free. We even do some Facebook training in there with Joel. We've got Chris that was doing some on the traffic sources. And I was talking a little bit about the case study that we did. You're going to get access to all of that. And then, of course, 30-day satisfaction guarantee. Sign up today. And if you don't like it for any reason, I don't care if it's 29 days, 23 hours, and 59 minutes from now, just let me know and we'll give you your money back. No questions asked. Our goal is to get you to the $100 per day. That's what we want for you. We want you to get your investment paid back in record time. So our plan is to get you there. But you have to take action. Obviously, you have to actually implement what we're teaching you and actually put it to work. Okay? But if for some reason it's not for you, just let us know and we'll just give you your money back. No questions asked. Okay? So again, guys, just to recap everything, including that new bonus with the funnel building workshop, which is $1,000 value. Now we're over $9,000 in value that you're going to get for just one single investment option of $997. Okay. So $500 off our regular price. You're going to get access to everything for just $997. That is the best offer that we're giving you. Okay. Now the flex option is there for you as well. Again, you'll save a little bit of money if you do the single option, but the $99, this is brand new. You'll get full access. We're not going to drip anything out or hold anything back on you. We're going to give everything to you for the $99. And then from there, you'll just have 11 additional payments. So you can go to theamazingseller.com/code 525 or just click the link on this page. Now, before we jump into the live Q&A and we give away some prizes, I've got some prizes to give away, like I talked about in the beginning. I want to talk about our classmates inspiring each other. I think this is awesome that our students are doing this, and it's so powerful. I do want to just throw a little disclaimer here. I'm sharing you screenshots that are shared inside of our community, but I'm not saying at all that this is typical. I'm not saying that this is going to happen for you if you just join. You have to actually do the work, and everyone's results are going to be different. But I just want to share with you what's happening inside and kind of the strong community that we have. But you can see here, Rich Kibble posts inside of our group here, inside of the community. He says, product 1, day 1, sale 1, I'm up and running. And then from there, he gives updates 17 days after, then he gives 3 months after. And guess what's happening during this? The class is asking him tons and tons of questions, and then he's answering them. And even if you didn't ask a question, you got to learn through that conversation, through that thread. And a lot of these threads are still in there that you guys get to kind of look through and see exactly what they did to get where they are today. I wanted to highlight Andy Irvine. He's from Australia. A lot of times people ask me, Scott, can I do this if I don't live in the US? And the answer is yes. Andy is proof of that. We've got other people too that are doing it inside of the class. But I also want to highlight where he says inspired by Rich Kibble. And that's why he's given this update and this detail, because Rich did it. So he's paying back like the favor, right? He's giving back inside the community. And it's just, again, it's contagious and it's really, really awesome. Jamie Vi, I met him in Texas before he even had a product launched. We had a meetup there. He joined the class. He got focused. He stuck to it really kind of crazy to it. Like he didn't advance nothing. He just kind of went and stuck to the plan. And then he gives updates as far as his progress. And he's just done amazing. And you can see here, he's quite a daredevil jumping out of a plane like that there. I also wanted to say this guy here, Jared, I mean, he met us in Denver. And in Denver, he basically had no plan really. And we kind of got him back on track. And he did an amazing job. And emails like this to me do not get old. He emailed me this and just totally blew me away. And then Bernard, I mean, we celebrate our small wins too. I mean, it's not all big numbers, right? It's like, bam, product selection is key. Product 2 went live yesterday, 0 reviews. We just ran some pay-per-click and 16 sales in one day. Thanks, Scott Voelker and Chris Shaffer. And he gave a snapshot of that and high fives all around the room, right? So we share those small wins because those to me are just as important because those are the milestones we have to get through. The class inspires and helps each other. Bottom line, you surround yourself with like-minded people, you have a much better chance of succeeding. The private label classroom is the entire process mapped out to help you launch your private label product on Amazon and start getting sales. That's what it's designed to do. And like I said, guys, we're trying to give you every single thing that you need without overwhelming you, but things that are going to help you through this journey. And you can see here by all the value that we're giving, over $9,000 value that we're going to give to you guys for just one single investment of $997. Or you guys can still take advantage of the flex option, which is there for you guys as well. So one thing I want to mention before I lose my voice 100%, we are closing the class. Okay. Generally we keep it open, but we allow people to come in at the regular price of $14.97. We have decided to close the class. We generally do this once or twice a year, and we're doing it May 31st, which is Wednesday. Okay. And we're going to be closing it for probably 6 to 8 weeks. So there won't be any open enrollment until after that 6 or 8 weeks. So if you were at all interested in joining, I would definitely encourage you to join now or definitely before the 31st, because when we do reopen, there most likely will be a price increase and we may even move to a monthly membership model. So I would definitely join if you are at all interested. Give it a go, give it a shot. We would love to have you. And you can also receive that discount by being on this workshop. But I just wanted to remind you guys that we will be closing the doors May 31st. And everything will be closed at that point in time. Now, I get a lot of people that say, Scott, I'm thank you so much for sharing this with me, but I'm just not sure about this. And I always tell them, like, listen, you got a couple options, right? Right now, you don't have to do anything. And actually, you might have come here and said, you know what? Now that I see it, I don't think that's a business model for me. And that's fine. Now, you can do nothing, like I said, and you don't have to join the class, which is 100% risk-free, okay? But you do have a second option, and that is make this small investment today compared to all the value that we're given in return, of course. Like, just give it a shot, right? I mean, we're giving a ton of value here. But if the class doesn't help you make money, then I don't deserve yours. And I mean that. And that's why we stick by our 30-day satisfaction guarantee. We want this to be as easy as possible for you to make that decision. If for some reason during that 30 days, it's just not for you, for whatever reason, all you need to do is send one email. We receive the email, we process the refund. No questions asked. It's literally that simple. Okay. There's no hoops to jump through. You don't have to prove that you didn't download the videos or nothing. We don't care. If you want to download the videos, download them, right? We're trusting you that if you don't want to continue, then you're just going to get out of the class. We're cool, right? But we're wanting to make this really, really as easy of a decision for you as possible, taking all the risk and putting it on us. Now, I'm not sure exactly why you showed up today because I don't know you 100% personally. I know a lot of you, but I don't know every single one of you. But maybe it's to find a way to spend more time with your family like I wanted. Or maybe pay off your mortgage or car or student loans, or maybe go on that extra vacation, or maybe just to have a flexible schedule, that freedom thing that we would all love to have, right? To be able to go to those ball games, to be able to go and pick up and go on a two-day or 3-day just little getaway. Like, who wouldn't want to do that? Depending on what it is, you need to figure that out. What is your why? I'm telling you right now, if there's one thing that I want you to take away from today and tonight, is understanding that mindset has a ton to do with people being successful. I learned this going through this process myself. And I'm not sitting here and saying to you that I've never, been lost. I have been. But when you figure out that why, man, oh man, I'll tell you what, it's game over. All right. So figure out what your why is and then push for it. All right. Bottom line is you have to just start something, whether it's this business model or any. I mean, you've seen what I went through, right? Construction worker to photographer to selling online to building little websites. And I still do some of that stuff. But then I found Amazon, and that was an easier way for me to create another revenue stream. Okay. It doesn't mean it has to be the end all. Okay. but you have to start something. And once you start, trust me, it gets contagious once you start to get results and you start to learn as you do, but you have to just start. And the last thing I'll say here is, I get this a lot is, but Scott, I should have started last year. It's just too late for me. I'm too late to the game. And I always go back to this Chinese proverb. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. And I believe that. We can all say I should have started 4 years ago. I should have bought a certain stock 10 years ago, right? But I didn't because I was too scared, right?
Amazon stock 10 years ago.
Exactly. So before we jump into the live Q&A, I want to have a little fun here with anyone that is joining the class tonight while we're live. This is for live attendees only. If this actually records and you're watching this on a replay, I am sorry. This is not for you. You're still cool. You're still awesome. But I'm rewarding students that have joined while we're here tonight live. What I'm going to do is I'm going to enter everyone into a virtual hat. While we're doing Q&A, if you didn't join now and you join later, and we're still on the call, we'll add you to that virtual hat. But what we're going to do is pull one winner, and that one winner is going to receive a 30-minute coaching call with me, a free license to Jungle Scout, which is a research tool, a $50 Amazon gift card, and a free inspection from Guided Imports when you need it. Okay, it'll be sitting there waiting for you. It's $199 value. All of that, one student is going to win that here tonight. Okay, so I just want to give you guys that. So before we jump into the live Q&A, let's have a little fun here. Who wants to win a $50 Amazon gift card? All you have to do right now is answer this simple question in the chat. So get ready, sit up. If you're laying down, if you're laying back, get energized, because here we go, baby. You ready? All you have to do is answer this. The first one in the chat to answer this is going to win a $50 Amazon gift card. Boom. How many units are you selling using the 10 by 10 by 1 strategy? First answer in the chat wins. Chris, as soon as you see that, let's mark it winner. So we're going to wait a second here, guys.
We got a winner, and my chat is exploding here. Looks like Greg is the winner tonight, and I will grab his email address.
Way to go, Greg. All right, fast action taker. I love it. All right, so we are going to jump into some live Q&A here. Again, guys, while we're doing the live Q&A, if you have any questions about the class, now would be the time to ask anything. We'll answer those. And also, while we're on, if you wanted to join, you can still get in to that little virtual raffle that we're going to do for that grand prize. So theamazingseller.com/code 525 will get you access to our special page there for you to join the private label classroom. So what do you say? Let's rock and roll.
Well, before we do that, we should give them the answer.
Oh, we probably should. I thought you did. I think you didn't get the answer. So let's do that. What is the answer, Chris? Do you know what the answer is? I hope so.
The answer is 10, or I picked the wrong person.
This is true.
Yeah, and guys, it is the 10 by 10 by 1 method, and I had a couple people ask me what that meant as we worked our way through the content here tonight. $10 in profit times 10 sales a day times one product. You can flip that around in any way. The number works out to $100 per day in profit, and that's what we're looking for when we look at individual products. And those are the products that Scott and I absolutely love to find. There's a couple different reasons for that. The first one, Scott, is that there's a little bit less competition on those products. And the second one is they're reliable, right? And you can generally predict that if you get one of those products, you're going to see 10 sales just about every day. Some days it might be 11, some days it might be 9, but it's going to average out to 10. And you got to love that. So Scott, before we dive into the live Q&A, and I know we've said that 2 or 3 times now, but before we do that, do you mind if I answer some of the questions I know that we're going to get just because we get them every time we do one of these workshops?
Sure, go for it. Yeah, I think that's smart.
So I know a lot of the people that are on with us tonight, and I saw a couple people when you asked, what it would give them if they could do the $100 a day, $300 a day, $500 a day. A lot of people were saying it would help me get out of my grind. It would help me get out of my 9 to 5. It would help me work for myself, which is an awesome mindset to have. But the question that often comes on the back of this is, Scott, can I do this business model if I work a 9 to 5 job? So Scott, if they want to sell on Amazon, can they do that right along their side, their 9 to 5 job? And are they going to have the hours in the day for it?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Here's the deal, right? I feel that if you allocate like an hour to 2 hours a day you can build this business on the side. Now, I've done it plenty of times. I built my photography business when I was working full-time construction, 60 hours a week, and we did a part-time hustle there. And that was a lot more work than starting an Amazon business, to be honest with you. So again, it comes down to your why. If you know what your why is and you're willing to put in that extra time, hey, watch your TV show next month, record all the episodes, right? Like, you might have to sacrifice a little bit right now. And if you do, it's going to pay off in the end, right? But I think everybody has the same amount of time. We all know that. It's how do you divide it up? On your lunch hour, maybe you can do product research. Maybe you can stay up an hour later after the kids go to bed when normally you're watching your favorite TV show. Maybe you can get up an hour early. There's different ways you can do it, but I absolutely 100% believe that you can build this business on the side as you're working a full-time job. 100%.
I agree with that too. And you know, it's funny, Kiyoki, who I believe joined the class tonight, and man, if I'm butchering your name, just let me know. It's not intentional. It's just as comments are flying by, names that aren't like single syllables become very difficult for Scott and I to catch.
Yeah, that's true.
Said, you know, I work 6 to 6, ha ha ha, 9 to 5, right? And it's one of those things where if your why is strong enough, and that's why we talked about that at the beginning, if your why is strong enough, it becomes much less of an obstacle to find that hour in the day, right? And he said, you know, sacrifice today for a better tomorrow. And it doesn't have to be that much of a sacrifice. Now, Scott, I know for you, DVRing Gold Rush and spending that hour doing product research is a huge sacrifice. Mm-hmm. But if you weren't currently working for yourself, would that sacrifice be worth it if you were able to achieve freedom for you and for your family?
100%. I mean, I can go back to when we were building our photography business and I was learning Photoshop for the first time, right? I learned from a book and I used to stay up. Oh gosh, sometimes I'd have to tell myself to go to bed and all of a sudden the sun would start coming up. Like I'm not kidding you. Like I'd spend an all-nighter because I was so into learning this so I could then use that in my business with my clients. So it's like, I've been there. And, you know, the TV shows, I mean, I got to be honest, you know, even sometimes when I'm building the Amazon business, even to this day, I want to sit down and watch the Yankee game. I'm a Yankee fan and I'll tell myself I'm going to watch it. And then I'll end up getting tied up in something that I'm working on in the business. And I have to pull myself away sometimes. So it depends. You know what I mean? Like how much you really want this, I believe you can have it.
Yeah, and that's why that why is so meaningful, right? And it doesn't matter what your why is as long as it's meaningful to you. For some people, it's spending more time with your family. For some people, it's securing your retirement, right? Maybe you don't want to quit that 9 to 5, but you want to have a second source of income because diversifying your income can never hurt, right? And whatever that why is, if that why is strong enough, you're going to find the time. Scott, kind of to follow up on that, you know, people who are worried about the 9 to 5 aren't the only people who ask this question, but we typically get this one a lot as well, which is, you know, how long does this business take? Like, how much effort does it really take? And quite honestly, you can do it in an hour or two a day. You know, we were talking with our friend John Lee Dumas earlier. He said he does his, and he does $20,000 to $30,000 a month on Amazon in like an hour a month, right? And we typically are a little more rambunctious than that. We typically say an hour or 2 hours per day. But it's not that much work in the grand scheme of things, especially when you consider the results that you can get out of it. Would you say that, you know, your half hour to an hour or at the top end, 2 hours a day is probably a safe time estimate for that?
I think so. And I think the difference with someone like John is he's got two products that's what he has. He's not building other products. With us, we're always thinking about the next product or how can we build off of that product or how can we, you know, and I actually called him out a little bit because there's some things he should be doing to push his sales, which we're going to be working on the side. But, you know, he's kind of comfortable, right? So we want to push that. But yeah, so you can get comfortable, but I'm a believer that if you stay actively doing something in that business, even if it's only an hour a day, you're just going to be able to keep pushing that business forward.
No, and I think that's absolutely the way to go. Scott, another question, and I saw a couple people ask it tonight, is, you know, do I have to be techie to be in this business? You're talking about selling online. What does that actually take? And the beautiful thing about Amazon is that Amazon takes care of all the heavy lifting for you. You don't need to have a website. Amazon is the website. You don't have to drive traffic. You can, and you can use Amazon's PPC, and it's actually pretty straightforward as far as an advertising platform goes. and Amazon will handle that for you. Amazon does split testing, and they do all this really techno babble nerdy stuff that I love to do in my business, but you don't have to do because Amazon does all of that for you. The only thing you have to do to be successful in this business is pick the right product. And that's why we spent so much time in the beginning talking about how to find the right product and really emphasizing that 10 by 10 by 1 methodology. Because if you can find a product that meets that criteria, you are going to be successful on Amazon. And I saw somebody, Scott, ask a little bit earlier in the Q&A. He said, my English isn't great. Can I still sell on Amazon? And I wanted to get your thoughts on that as well.
Yeah, I definitely think you can. My thing with that is you may have to have someone that maybe speaks on your behalf. Now, is your English not good where you're typing, or is it just your language, your audio, right? Like, is it that, or is it the typing? Because if it's typing, you can have someone do that for you. Like, you just have to be you have to be resourceful sometimes, right? I always like to look at like what's in my way. How do we get around it? And that simple thing would be like, do you know someone that does speak good English that could speak on your behalf? Like, there's always a way around something. We just have to be a little bit more creative.
That kind of leads into the next question that I know a lot of people are probably wondering. And I know that they're wondering about it because I've been asked, I think 15 times tonight. I tried to keep count, but I ran out of fingers, which is, how much does it typically take to get started selling on Amazon? And I typically say, on the high end, $3,000 to $5,000, but I'm seeing a lot more sellers start in that $2,000 to $3,000 range. But the thing that's kind of interesting about that is you don't have to have that much to start. You can start with substantially less than that. We talked about people like Chris Gaston, who does the $500 challenge. But one of my favorite examples of that is the sticker guy. And I really should learn his name, Scott, because I bring him up a lot. And I kind of feel like a terrible human being. Did I just lose you?
No, I'm here.
Oh, it flashed on me and I was concerned for a minute. So, I kind of feel bad because I don't know his name, but basically it comes down to resources versus resourcefulness. And that was something you were just talking about, right? If you don't have the resources, in this case, the money, you have to be a little bit more resourceful. And what he did is he bought stickers on Craigslist, sold them on eBay in like larger packets, right, Scott?
Yep. Yeah, he built packages. Yep.
Kind of individual sheets of stickers, put them into larger packages, sold them all on eBay for a massive profit, and turned around and used that to start his private label product, which is really kind of a cool story. And Scott, how much was his initial investment on those sheets of stickers?
It was like $60 or $65, and he ended up, I think he ended up bringing in about $1,800.
So he started with $60, guys. You don't need a ton of money if you can be a little resourceful like that. Well, but typically,
this guy that was selling the stickers was really just kind of clearing out a huge amount of inventory. So $60 doesn't sound like he got much. He got like cases of these stickers. This guy just wanted to get out of his garage, right? And they were like well-known like brand stickers, like for like maybe it was like Barbie or something like that. And then he bundled them together, made bigger packages, and sold them for more. That's how he did it. So they're out there. I mean, you got to be resourceful, like we said.
Scott, can you quickly touch on the course? We had a couple people asking if they get immediate access, and then they were also asking about that 30-day money-back guarantee. Does that apply to FlexPay, and is that really no questions asked?
Yes, it's 100%. Let me address the first thing. No matter what option you pick, you get full access. All right. I know there's some courses and programs out there that, you get dripped content where you drip out. Like we could have dripped out module 1 for the first week and module 2. We wanted to let you go at it at your own pace. If you're gung-ho and you want to go through module 1 and 2 in 4 days, you can. I recommend going through it like 7 to 10 days per module, but we give you full access today. I mean, we're grown people, right? We can kind of figure that out. So yes, it doesn't matter which option that you choose, you will have full access. And the 30-day satisfaction guarantee is exactly what it is. We're actually taking more risk than you because we're giving you full access. And honestly, you can download this stuff. So, we feel like, we're giving you full access. So this way you can kind of, just test it out, see if it's the right fit for you, see if it's something that you want to do. And then from there, if it's not, you just let us know. We feel like if we get you in there and we get you started, we get some momentum, we really believe that you're going to believe in yourself and you're going to want to push through. Our goal is to get you to those 10 sales per day. So you can get to the $100 per day and then in 10 days pay off your investment. Like that's what we want. Like that's our goal. That would make me so happy to have you say, I'm there, I did it. and now it's, I paid back my investment. Now I can be rewarded for forever. That's what we want. If it's not for you though, send us an email. No questions asked. Literally in that same day, you'll be refunded.
The other side of that, Scott, is what if you need longer to go through the content? That was something Nana was asking me about just a little bit earlier. You guys have lifetime access to that core content once you're in the class. So you can go through it as many times as you need to. And quite honestly, some of the guys that we were talking about earlier, like your Jamie Vise and your Rich Kibbles, I know for a fact they go back through it, mostly because they come back and they ask questions in the Facebook group about the stuff that we've changed since the last time they've been through it. Nana also wanted to know, Scott, I just ordered, but I want to know if I can watch today's workshop again. I'm only 2 weeks into TAS. Everything is going quick for me. And I just wanted to watch it again, basically because I have a short memory. Nana, you absolutely can watch it again. And you can also watch it at a little bit of a slower pace in a lot more detail by going through all of the videos that are inside of the course. And I know you're in the course now. You were jumping up and down about that payment option, and you seemed to really enjoy that. And so did a bunch of other people, Scott. I think our buddy Everend. He jumped in tonight. He's been on 5 workshops with us now. Nice. And he was just kind of hanging out, and he heard the payment option, and he said, man, that is too good of a deal to pass up. And he jumped on. So I want to give him a shout out because he is always a huge help in the chat, saving my fingers. And Scott, what do you say we dive into this ever-growing queue of questions that we have here?
Let's do that, but let's give away another $50. That's what I want to do. All right, so let's do this. Let's give away another $50. Everyone that's still on with us, well over 220 people still on with us here. You guys rock. Love you guys. And what I want to do here is give away another $50. So we're going to reward you guys for hanging around. So here we go. Are you ready? Chris, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go. Okay, what is Scott's dog's name? First to answer in the chat wins. I would love to have a little video camera of everybody at this point in time to see how fast they're typing and hitting submit. Do we have anybody yet, Chris?
John.
John is the winner. And what is Scott's dog's name, Chris?
Brody.
Brody. Yeah, he's sleeping too, by the way.
No, Scott, do you spell that B-R-O-D-I-E or yes. B-R-O-D-Y?
Yeah. B-R-O-D. How do I spell it? I don't know. I'm not really sure if I've ever spelled it. I guess.
What's his name tag say?
I don't know. I'd have to look. Anyway, B-R-O-D-Y. Let's go with that. That sounds
all right. So then John was correct because he guessed.
Well, you know what? I'm going to say that is it because my dog before this was Cody, and that's how we spelled it. So yes, we're going to go with Brody. Yes. See, guys, you don't even have to know how to spell your dog's name, and you can launch products on Amazon. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
This is how little technical knowledge you need. If you don't know what you named your dog, then exactly. You can still sell on Amazon.
Exactly. Well, that feels good though. We just gave away $100 tonight on this workshop. So people all leave here winners. I love it. The content that you guys have received. I hope you guys can see the value that we delivered. And everyone that's jumping into the class, I am super excited to be able to see what you guys do here in the future and really start diving into this content. We've got so much planned too. I wish I could talk more about it, but I kind of need to keep my lips sealed. But we've got some really cool things that we're going to be rolling out inside the class. Actually, we didn't even mention that, but we have a brand new interface inside of the classroom that actually is a little bit easier to use. And it gives you guys a little bit of a where you are in the process. So it gives you like a little bit of a meter to show you how much you've achieved or how much you've actually went through the lessons. So some really cool stuff we got planned and some content. And I'm going to stop talking now because I'm going to go ahead and tell you everything that we're going to be doing. So anyway, Chris, let's answer some questions. Let's do it.
We're getting a ton of questions about tools here, Scott. And before we dive into any of these guys, I want to preface this with you don't need any tools. Scott, how many tools did you use when you launched your first product?
Oh, man. I don't think I used any, to be quite honest with you. I think it was a
spreadsheet.
A spreadsheet, yeah. So whatever I had on my computer for the spreadsheet, and I just really, I did it the old school way. Now I do have Jungle Scout, the web app, and my extension. And I have some other various tools that, again, I always tell people, don't get the tools until you need them, right? I'm not going to go out and buy an air compressor and an air nailer if I'm not going to, be putting on a roof or if I'm not going to be building something, right? I'm not just going to have it in my garage and go, oh, that looks good. You know, when you need it,
that's my neighbor.
Yeah. When you need it, that's when you start to say, okay, I think I'm going to need this. Like accounting software. Do you really need that right now? No, you got to find a product. So yeah, I don't want to overwhelm people with tools, but right now, the only thing you really need is what we just gave you here tonight. The first step, if you did want anything, would be Jungle Scout. And Jungle Scout, I've got a resources page on the website, which there's some discounts there for you guys. If you want to head over there to theamazingseller.com/resources. And you'll find all the tools that I do recommend over there, but I would not get overwhelmed with them. And I'm not at all saying you need all those. You need what I gave you here tonight to get started. You need a pad of paper and a pen. That's what you need to get started if you haven't even started yet.
And I'm just going to go on a rant about that for a minute, because it's not a workshop if we don't talk about the touch list, right? The touch list is something that a lot of people poo-poo, including our friend Bill Strutwa, who through his first 3 products basically said, I'm not going to do that. That's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. Mm-hmm. Right. And quite often we talk to people who even people who have been through this workshop and know better. They say, oh yeah, I didn't do a touch list. That's kind of dumb. Scott, how many people do you think inside the classroom use their touch list to find their successful product? I'm willing to bet, just from the products I know of our students, that it's 80 to 90% of those students, including Bill Strutwa, who went through 3 product ideas and then finally broke down and did the touch list and found the product that he's selling 80 plus units a day of, right? The touch list is one of those things that sounds too stupid simple to work. But quite honestly, it's where you're going to find some of your best ideas. Another good example of that, Scott, a couple weeks ago when I was putting back together my guest bedroom after I moved, right? We found a product, putting that room back together. It was something that I needed to finish assembling all of my furniture. And I went, I bet if I need this, other people need this. And it's something that I was touching that day, but walking through a store, looking at Amazon, not something I ever would have thought of. Sure enough, you jump on Amazon and it's got massive demand. All the complementary products have massive demand. Louis wants to know, Scott, what the heck is a touch list? Can you explain that for a quick minute?
Yeah, touch list is basically, like I said, you are taking everything that you touch on a daily basis, okay, and you are writing that down. And then from there, you are acknowledging like what you're touching, and then you're able to drill down into that market. So that market might just be, if you touch the fishing pole that day, you're in the fishing market. So now we've discovered that, and now we can start drilling into that niche. That's really how I like to kind of look at using the touch list. It's a way for you to discover things that you might not necessarily know. We have a brand that we started by an item that actually my wife was using, and said, you know what, you should probably look into this. And then we said, you know what, we should. And then we built a brand. We're building a brand currently right now. So that's really how that kind of works.
Yeah, and guys, this is something that you need a pen and a pad of paper to do. And Jeff Master says, get a pen and a pad of paper, your friend, a kid, and an old person, right? And Scott, you kind of talk about that. You say, you have a 21, almost 22-year-old daughter. You have a 19-year-old son.
Yep.
And a 9-year-old daughter.
Yep. And
they are all into totally different things. And if you got them all to do a daily touch list, just of the stuff that they touch on a daily basis, you're going to find a product out of all of that, most likely that meets the 10 by 10 by 1 criteria, which is kind of awesome. Scott, we got a whole bunch of questions pouring in, so let's try to get to a few of those before we just get more questions. Nick wants to know, he says, what is the safest payment option to use on Alibaba? What are your thoughts on the different payment options that you can use inside of Alibaba, Scott?
Well, there's a couple different ones. I mean, you can wire money. Wiring money is a little bit scary at times until you know that supplier. So I always try to go through either a PayPal option, or I would do a payment type through AliExpress or Alibaba. I would use their platform, or a third party, which would be more of an escrow. But you have to negotiate this stuff with these people. Sometimes they'll be like, well, I don't really want to do PayPal because I pay higher fees. And I'm like, how much are the higher fees? It's like $200. I'll pay the $200. This way here, it's kind of like my insurance policy. So that's kind of how I look at that. But yeah, you want to negotiate that as far as like what they're willing to do. And sometimes they'll be very, very strict, and we only do wires. If they only do wires, then you probably want to do like a small order in the beginning, just to kind of make sure that things go through without without having any problems. That's why also you want to vet out that supplier and do your research and make sure that they're a legit company. And one of the ways is to do it through AliExpress or Alibaba.
Yeah, and quite honestly, you can use whatever payment option you feel comfortable with. Personally, I would do either escrow, PayPal if they'll take it, and if you're willing to eat some of those fees, which is totally cool, or even just Ali Secure Pay, where we've started paying with a credit card and getting points and miles and cash back and all that fun stuff, right? Our company has, I think, Marriott Rewards credit card, right? And so we get really nice hotel status at Marriott and a whole bunch of points for free nights and that kind of stuff. So it's definitely something you can do, and it's all going to depend on how comfortable you are. Generally, I would stay away from wire transfers. Vivek wants to know, he says, I'm from India. Can you please advise international sellers on setting up an account, business issues, taxation? I think there are some people who want to know, but I don't know where to go to find the information. The answer is, Vivek, you're going to want to talk to a local accountant or an attorney. Even if you're not in India, even if you're in the US, any questions about specific setup, how you should structure your business, should be directed to those professionals. What I will tell you is you are going to want to have some sort of corporate protection, whether it's an LLC or an S Corp or a C Corp, any of those techno-babble legal terms. You can talk with your attorney and accountant to get specific guidance on that. Scott and I are not attorneys. Brody is, but Scott, I believe he's asleep right now. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes, he's
sleeping. So, his English isn't great and he is sleeping right now. So we don't want to wake him up. That's a great way to get a $500 an hour bill from Brody. My supplier asked me about box marks. Aside from having made in China, is there anything else that needs to go on the shipping box? April wants to know. April, what they're asking you about, if they're talking about shipping box marks, is anything like this side up or fragile, right? Fragile. Any of those kinds of things that you want to put on there just to let the people know who are handling the box any additional instructions that they need to know. If it's not a fragile product, it doesn't need to be facing a certain direction. You don't need any of those additional marks. I would talk to your supplier and ask what marks they suggest to go on the shipping box based on that particular product. That has not steered me wrong thus far. They're generally pretty liberal with what they advise you put on there. Louis wants to know, real quick question, Jungle Scout or ASIN Inspector? For me, it's Jungle Scout, Scott. I know for you, it's Jungle Scout. It just tends to be the most accurate in terms of finding you those sales per day, which is what we want. And when Jungle Scout is off, they tend to be off on the low end, meaning they kind of underestimate sales, at least in my experience. And I'd rather have Jungle Scout tell me that it's 8 sales a day and end up with 10 than have it tell me it's 12 and end up with 8. So that's why we tend to like Jungle Scout. Plus, their team is fantastic. Their support is fantastic. And everybody that works over there is a friend of the show. Cynthia wants to know a good price range on Alibaba to still make $10 profit. Cynthia, that's a great question. And it's going to depend on how much you end up selling the product for, right? If you have a $5 product and you sell it for $20, chances are, even with some Amazon fees and shipping and some of those kinds of things, that you'll be able to make $10 on it. Obviously, if it's a $10 product, you're going to need to sell it for more than $20 after all of the fees and shipping and those kinds of things. So it's going to depend on the product itself. Dale wants to know, when we receive our shipment, should we unbox everything and QA it before we rebox it and send it to Amazon, Scott?
Not everything. I would just kind of like spot, almost like you're spot checking. Like I would open up, if you got 10 boxes, I'd open up like 3, you know what I mean? Randomly. But if you want to open them all up, you can. But I wouldn't go through all of them. An inspection company is going to basically do that too. They're going to do a small percentage of the total order, but they're going to kind of randomly kind of select. That's kind of how I would do it. That's totally up to you.
Aday says, what about AmaSuite? Guys, again, it's one of those tools. AmaSuite is a really nice tool to have. It's not something that I use regularly. Scott, you use it more frequently than I do. But if you're just getting started, focus on one. And my suggestion would be to get the Chrome extension from Jungle Scout. Scott, do you know how much that is right now through your link?
The Chrome extension, I believe, is, depending if you get the Pro version, I believe it's like 10 or 20 bucks off of whatever the listed price is. So I don't know off the top of my head, but I know that I believe that you get a $10 off, a minimum of $10 off.
It's less than $100 though, right?
Last
time we checked.
Yeah, I believe the last time.
And so that, if you're looking for a tool, that would be the way to go to start. Zemo wants to know, he said, if I'm not a citizen in any country where Amazon is active, can I still sell? I'm mostly interested in selling in Europe for private labeling. Do I have to register the company brand and logo, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? You don't have to register those things. It helps to do that. And especially if you're going to end up getting a trademark, you can get some really cool protections down the road, but you don't have to do that to sell on Amazon. And that's something that a lot of people miss. They get bogged down in that process of, oh, well, before I can sell, I need to get a trademark. Not true. And in fact, that can delay you selling by 6 months. Or you could just start selling and apply for the trademark and make 6 months worth of profit while you're waiting for that. In terms of if you can sell and you're not in a country where Amazon is active, you can Zemo, and you have to have an accepted currency or a bank account in an accepted currency. And there's a couple different ways to do that. If you join the Amazing Seller Facebook group at theamazingseller.com/F as in Frank, B as in boy, ask that question in there about exactly how everyone is handling that, and they'll be able to get you all the answers that you need based on your specific country.
Hey, Chris, let's cut in here really quickly. I know we got more questions to answer, and I definitely want to get to as many as we can. We'll probably be sticking around for about another 15 minutes or so, but I would like to, again, remind you guys, I know a bunch of you have jumped in since the last time I showed this, but we are going to do this little raffle here very soon. So before we keep going here, I just wanted to kind of revisit this. I'm going to be giving away a 30-minute coaching call with me, a free license to Jungle Scout, a $50 Amazon gift card, and a free inspection service from Guided Imports. One winner, one person that is going to be pulled from the hat of our new students that are here live with us here tonight. I'm going to be doing that. We'll probably do that at I'd say in about 10 minutes. We'll do that. So give about 10 more minutes. Just to recap everything that is inside of the class when you join is the 5 modules, 65 videos, worksheets. You get access to the private Facebook community. You get 35 past PLC Hangouts with notes. The monthly PLC Hangouts, the ones that we're doing, actually we're going to be doing one here very, very shortly. 12-month access to new content, and then 12-month access to the private Facebook group. You get also all the special bonuses, the 7 expert interviews, plus the additional ones we're going to be adding, product research webinar, and the funnel building workshop that we recorded in Arizona in a live fashion, which is $1,000 value alone. Here's what happens after the 12 months, because some people were asking that. Like, so what happens after the 12 months, Scott? You say I have access, but then after that, what happens? You still have access to all the course material. The only thing that you would have the option to continue as far as joining is having access to the Facebook community, the Hangouts, the future Hangouts, any new content that we create. And for right now, and I say right now because when we do close and then reopen again, this will be more expensive. It's $97 for the year. See, right now, if you join, you will have in 12 months from now, we'll remind you and we'll say, hey, do you still want access to the community? Do you still want access to the monthly Hangouts? It's just $97 for the year, covers the cost. And that way it helps us pay for our admins. It helps us pay for, all of the things that we're doing to make the class better, like the show notes, all of that stuff. And it's just $97 a year. So that's what happens after that. But you don't lose access to all of the course material that's been added up to that point. So I just want to be very clear on that. The 30-day satisfaction guarantee, I just want to, again, mention that for whatever reason it's not for you, doesn't matter. Just let us know with an email and we'll make sure that that's issued like right away. No questions asked. And then just to remind you guys, the single investment option is available there for you. That is the rock bottom price. We will not ever go lower. We've never done lower than that. And if anything, we've talked about increasing that when we reopen. Our public price is $14.97. But you guys can get access for just $9.97. That's that's a huge savings. And then the flex option is there. And this is something we just offered today and for the close, because we are going to be closing next Wednesday. And this may never see the light of day again. This may turn into a monthly membership eventually. But flex option is there for you right now if you want to take advantage of that. And I already covered that. So let's answer some more questions. Let's do like 3 to 5 if we can do those quickly, and then we will pull the winner.
Sounds good. Andy says, I stayed up for this webinar. It's 5 a.m. where I am, and I just wanted to know if anybody else was doing the same. Andy, the answer is yes. Lisa wants to know, will my questions be answered in the class modules? Lisa, not in the modules themselves, but in the Facebook group, and that's why that community is there. And that's something that I think, Scott, we should probably talk just a little bit about. That community is super, super powerful, and the reason that we have that as a community and not just as like post a comment under the video lesson right, is because you can get input from Scott and myself, which happens all the time. We spend about an hour a day inside of that group answering everybody's questions, but you also get answers and guidance from the other students. So there's a lot of things that, Scott and I don't sell every product on Amazon, so we haven't had to deal with every specific situation. So if you run into something that maybe Scott and I haven't encountered, 99.999% of the time, there's another student who has encountered it and has the solution. The other thing that's kind of cool is a lot of times Scott and I will get tagged in a question about a lesson. And in the 30 seconds that it takes me to find the little red notification at the top of Facebook, click on it and start to write a response, a student or two has already given their opinion on it. And so we get to create some really cool dialogue and discussion, kind of like what we're doing here tonight, all around every question that you have. So yes, if you have any questions when you're inside the class, you can ask them in the Facebook group and they will get answered. Maria wants to know, when is the last day that I can make a payment, Scott? When are we shutting down the class to new students?
That'll be next Wednesday, May 31st, I believe is the 31st is a Wednesday. That'll be, we're going to be closing the doors to the class. Now, that doesn't mean that the class is shutting down itself. It just means that there's not going to be any open enrollment, even publicly. We will be closing that down. We won't be accepting any new students until after we reopen, which will probably be about 6 to 8 weeks from Wednesday.
Julie says, I live in Toronto, Canada. I wish I knew about the meetup a few Saturdays ago. Julie, it's not just you. It was kind of a last minute thing. Scott kind of decided overnight that he was going to fly to Canada to watch a Raptors game, which ended very poorly for the Raptors, if I recall. Yes. So it wasn't just you. She said, is it best for me to create an Amazon.ca account, since I believe it enables a way to sell in the US, or would it be better to just start a .com account? Julie, you can do either. Our good friend Dom Sugar sells a little bit in Canada, but almost all of his sales come in the US. And just based on my experience as well, for every 10 sales you make on Amazon.com, you'll make 1 or 2 on Amazon.ca. So if you're looking to get started, my suggestion here in Canada, at least, would be to start selling in the US. And then if you want to keep a little bit of inventory in Canada, you can do that as well. Julie wants to know, do I have to incorporate before selling on Amazon? No, you do not. But the sooner you can do that kind of stuff, the better. And again, remember, guys, you're going to want to talk to your friendly neighborhood accountant and your friendly neighborhood attorney about any of those specific questions on how to set that up. But I would suggest having some sort of corporate protection. Which way you go and how you do that is going to depend on your specific situation. Scott, are you ready to go ahead and pull that winner?
Yeah, I am. Why don't you answer one more quick question, and then I will tally up what we have here, pick the winner, we'll announce it, and then we'll finish up with a few additional rapid fire questions. Let's do that.
Sounds good. Kiyoki says, I placed my first order. Rock on, brother. And as soon as I did, I got a lot of other sellers. I bundled and differentiated and have optimized listing, professional photos. My question is about price and looking at profit per day more than per unit. I know I'll lose theoretical sales, but I feel profit per day is based on price adjustments. So I guess what the question is there is, should I adjust my price to be a little more price competitive, even if it means that I'm going to lose a little bit of margin? So to me, the answer is yes. If you want to get more sales, it's worth it. At the very least, it's worth a test to see what that is. You don't have to make $10 on every sale. It's a guideline, right? It's not written in stone. If you make 9, it's not terrible. If you make 11, that's even better, right? And Scott, you and I talked a little bit earlier about the test brand, and we're making some of those products we make $5-6 on, right? Mm-hmm. But what we're looking for is an average of 10 sales a day. So Kiyoki, even though you might not be making 10 on that product with the bundle and the different price, it's not something that I would let your heart get down about, as long as you're still making profit, right? Even if it's only $1 or $2 right now. Because remember, the next time you place that order, if you place a larger order, if you ship by sea, there's other ways to change that margin. And as you become more established, you can actually raise your price. And Scott, that's an experiment you ran recently. One of your first products, you had been selling, you had a bunch of people come in since you first started selling it. And it kind of drove the price down, and you went right along with it to try to keep up. And recently you split tested your price and found that when you raised it, you actually sold more than you were selling, and you made more per unit, which is kind of cool as well. So Kiyoki, it's worth a test. See what happens when you lower it, see what happens when you raise it, and then figure out which way feels better for you.
Okay, I think I have a winner here.
Sounds good.
All right, so let me go back to my screen here very quickly. Be patient, guys. Let me see. Do I have it up on the next screen? Yeah, I do. Look at that. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to basically give this away right here, the 30-minute coaching call with me and all these other prizes that are going to be there. And basically the winner will receive this within the next 24 to 48 hours. We'll send you an email in the morning with the details. But let me go ahead and let's announce this. So the winner is Daniel Winger. So Daniel Winger is the winner. So Daniel, congratulations, and thank you so much for joining the class. We welcome you, and we're excited to have you, and can't wait to see you inside the class. And then to let anyone else know too that has already joined, you've probably already received your login credentials, but to get approved inside of the Facebook group, you'll have to send us a request, which is inside of the email should come to you, and then it'll have a link going to the Facebook page, and you'll add a request, or you can do it inside of the private label classroom, and you'll see an option there for Facebook, and you can do it there. If for any reason you do not know how to get approved or whatever, just send us an email, support@theamazingseller.com, and we'll make sure you get squared away. Because everybody is approved everybody has to get approved in order to be entered into the private group. So Chris, let's answer maybe, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 more questions if they're quick.
You just broke up on me there, but I think I'm still live with you. Jason
you
says,
are live.
I have a good question. Great way to start, Jason. When you're launching and moving your price down 50%, do you move or fluctuate this price daily? I was a little confused on this, if the price stays for like 5 days or if it moves daily. So I'm not usually a fan of dropping your selling price to get started if you have a list. If you don't have a list, and if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, yell at me in the chat. If you don't have a list, then you can lower that price to just kind of get some of that Amazon traffic in. The way that we like to launch, and we cover this in a totally different workshop in theamazingseller.com/build list. If you don't have one of those, then you can drop that. If you do have a list, the better way to do that is to list it at the price you'd like to sell, and then give those people a coupon that you can create inside of Amazon. That would be my suggestion if you have people to launch to. If not, then you can drop it down that 50%. I wouldn't move it daily in the beginning. Drop it and let it sit there until you start to get the sales velocity that you want, and then you can slowly start to raise that. Scott, do you kind of feel the same way?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I wouldn't change a thing.
Glennis says, does having a branded product give me more freedom regarding price? Having an established brand can absolutely give you more freedom regarding price, especially if you have a face or a personality behind the brand. And this is something we've been playing around with recently, because there's more inherent value to that product, right? There's a higher perceived value. People think it's worth more when they start to have that relationship with you. And so having that can absolutely give you more freedom regarding price, especially because you control just a little bit of the website. Dave wants to know, Scott, quick question. I know C shipping is a little bit of a headache, but do you two do it? Have you done any C shipping at this point?
No, I haven't. Well, I take that back. We have done some with the open brand, but no, not with those other brands that I'm working in, and including the one I even started. A lot of the stuff I have is small. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't, unless I'm going to order, 10,000 units at a time. No, I have not. Now, with that being said, I am working towards doing that with this new brand, because we have some products that could probably save us a good bit of money by going C. So yeah, we will be.
Okay, I'm laughing. Rick in the chat, who I swear I thought was my father. My father's name is Rick, and he has an email address. And when he joined the chat, I sent my dad a Facebook message, because I'm actually at my parents' house right now, guys. I'm visiting my cousin's getting married this weekend, and I thought he was upstairs for me, hanging out on the workshop with us. Nice. So Rick, I apologize for that, but he says, we're all winners after this. Thank you, Scott and Chris. Love the last name, Chris. Finally, another Shaffer spelled the way that it should be. Rock on, brother.
Nice.
Alicia says, make sure you guys check your junk mail folder for your login info. It's a great point, Alicia. If you guys haven't gotten it, check that. And if you guys have any issues getting your login info or anything like that, if you joined the class tonight, send us an email at support@theamazingseller.com. That'll hit my inbox, and that'll hit Scott's inbox, and that way we can get you guys squared away immediately. Scott, cool. Did you see any other quick questions?
No, I have not. I just, again, I think we should probably just do a little recap here and and get on with our night and let everyone else get on with their night and their day and rock and roll here. So yeah, guys, again, just to kind of recap here, everything that you will receive when you join is right here on this page. I'm not going to read through it all. There's a lot there. But again, it's in bite-sized pieces. So these are resources to help you walk through the process and then also give you the support elements like our monthly hangouts, like the past hangouts, and the community aspect. And all these bonuses we're adding in here are for you to grow, or as you grow, you're going to be able to use them. So again, huge amount of value we're giving you guys there, including this live workshop that we did that we're going to give you guys full access to those recordings, which again, people paid $1,000 to be in those seats. So again, this will be available until, let's see, next Wednesday. We will be closing the class that Wednesday. And then from there, we will be reopening about 6 to 8 weeks, hopefully, if everything goes well. But for right now, you can still get access here for this special price. And then also the flex option is there for you guys if you want to take advantage of that. And then just to remind you guys, the 30-day satisfaction guarantee is there for you guys as well. So Chris, let's jump over to video real quick. And
let's do it.
Let me go ahead and stop the slides. There we are. We're back. That was quick. That was good. So again, I just wanted to say thank you guys for showing up. Thank you for your questions. Thanks for everyone that did join the class. Yes, we're both wearing our Take Action shirts. So I'm a big believer in that. I am a big believer in understanding your why and why you do it. Like, you know, a lot of people say, like, Scott, you know, it's so great. Like you're successful. You got to where you are, and you know, you must have just like fallen into it, right? No, things don't happen by accident necessarily, right?
You got lucky.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's the other one. You got lucky. No, the thing is like I kept at it, right? And I just kept following that journey and then pivoting and then going after something else and then learning through that process. Like there's things I learned in the photography business that I still use today, not even in photography. I'm talking like business lessons. I learned stuff in my father's company, running employees, that I learned how to work with people better. Like there's all of these things that are assets to us that we can learn through this entire process. So it's been the journey. And now I just really know how to deal with it a little bit better as far as like how to manage my time, how to really figure out the why and then strive towards that. That's why I really try to pound that home, because it's so very, very important. And if you don't know what that is, you're just kind of running blind. If you just go out there and go, I want to make $1 million, like that's great and all, but like, what are you doing it for? And that's not really a target. Like $100 per day, that's a target. Like what does that figure out to like per year, right? So if it's like you want to make $50,000 a year, then just figure out what that is. Like go backwards and figure out how much that is per day. That's how much you need to make a day in order to support your lifestyle right now. And then from there you can grow. So I just wanted to really just kind of, and I know it has nothing to do with Amazon, but I'm telling you, mindset is probably 80% of it. Like you have to get your mind right in order to be successful. So Chris, you want to wrap up with any parting piece of guidance or wisdom?
Absolutely. Lisa's laughing at the Indiana Jones movie poster behind me. She says, "You rock." My family's big into Indiana Jones, so I got a kick out of that. Scott, you were saying, you know, if you have $50,000 and that's your goal, what would you need? You would need 13 by 10 by 1 to hit that. So it's even possible to do that with a single product, guys. You need $136 a day in profit. It really isn't that hard to do if you apply what we taught you. And Scott, I think that is the key to what we're talking about here is the application. And you hear it said all the time, you know, there's like motivational posters in the office or in the school or all these places. And it says, knowledge is power, right? Guarantee you your local library has a poster that says knowledge is power. But I think that's a lie. I think it's a misstatement, because knowledge can be crippling. Knowledge can be paralyzing. And we see people all the time, and people ask us all the time. I had 3 or 4 conversations at Seller Summit, Scott, with people who were saying, I know all this stuff, and I haven't implemented it in my business. The power doesn't come from the knowledge. The power comes from the application of that knowledge. So what I'm going to ask you guys to do, whether you joined the class tonight, whether you didn't, it doesn't matter. Take what we taught you here tonight. And if you think this business model is right for you after seeing what we do and knowing your why, knowing you need $136 a day or whatever that is to achieve your why, please, please, please do Scott and I both a favor. and apply what you learned here tonight.
Totally.
If you haven't started, get started. Set aside some time this weekend. You have a 3-day this weekend here in the 3-day weekend this weekend here in the US that you can do some product research. And right. Take just a little bit of time. Grab that pen, grab that pad of paper before you go to bed tonight. Or if you're our friends who are up at 5 a.m., grab it before you start your day. Right. And start that touch list. Get started. If you've already done that, do yourself a favor, reach out to that first supplier. Right. Whatever that next step is, take it. If you do this for 7, 10, 15 days, even for just a half an hour or an hour a day, you will be shocked at how far into this process you can get in just a week or 2 weeks. And once you start to see that momentum, you're not going to want to stop. But the very first thing you have to do is you have to take that first action.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, you totally do. And that's some good words right there that I think people could really let sink in. The plan is there. You just have to follow it. And then also you have to figure out your target and figure out your why, and then just go after it. So that's pretty much going to wrap it up, guys. I do want to remind you that if you are at all interested in joining the class, you can do so now or between now and Wednesday at that special price. After that, it doesn't matter what price you would be willing to pay. You will not be able to get into the class because we're closing it because we want to, well, honestly, I've got some things planned. Chris has got things planned, and we're not going to be around as much. And we are we're doing some updates and some bonuses that we're adding in. So, excuse me, that was the first cough in a long time. So, yeah, that's it. That's pretty much going to wrap it up. If you want to join the class, we'd love to have you. And if you think that you got this thing on your own, or maybe you're just not ready, that's fine. You good, Chris?
One last thing, Robin wants to know how to get the downloads that you mentioned. If you guys missed it, it's directly above the chat, wherever the chat is for you. It's the little blue link in the little yellow box. I don't get to call it a green box anymore because it's yellow now. It says looking for the downloads. Click that. It's going to download a zip file for you, and you'll be good to go.
Cool. Get those downloads, guys. They're gold. And we will see you guys around soon. If you guys have joined the class, we'll see you in class. Don't be late to class. We don't like to give out detention slips. Yeah, we don't.
But we will.
But we could. We could do it. But anyway, have an awesome, amazing night, day, whatever time you're watching this, wherever you are located in the world. And just understand that, as I always say, I'm here for you and I believe in you and I'm rooting for you, but you have to take action. All right. We'll see you guys. Take care. Have an awesome, amazing day. And I'm rooting for you. I really, really am. All right. Take care.